The mystery of Claudia Price. The mysterious disappearance of 75-year-old Claudia Price has left her loved ones, her community, and local authorities deeply concerned. She was last seen in September 2023 at a Walmart near 91st and Delaware in Tulsa, and since then, a determined search has unfolded across parks, trails, neighborhoods, and nearby towns. A silver alert was immediately issued, reflecting the urgency of the situation. As of today, Mike Gleason has tirelessly searched for any sign of her. He has walked through parks close to her home, hoping that cyclists or walkers who frequent the trails might recognize Claudia and contact the police. Law enforcement has joined the effort with equal dedication. Helicopter crews have scanned the area from above, remaining airborne for extended periods as they look for movement or clues that could lead to her location. Mike said that he's worried for his sister's well-being. Claudia, who has been living with dementia, is vulnerable, and her family fears she may be confused or unable to find her way home. The impact of her disappearance has reached far beyond her immediate family. Friends who have known Claudia for years are also searching, calling out her name, checking nearby walking paths, and looking through ravines and wooded areas. Among them is Suan Vidal, a volunteer at the Oklahoma Military History Center in Broken Arrow, where Claudia also volunteered for many years before her condition worsened. Suan has walked long distances in hopes of spotting her, worried about the cold weather and hoping Claudia simply sought shelter somewhere nearby. Claudia spent her life caring for others as a dedicated nurse, and now her family longs to be able to care for her in return. Her brother continues to search with unwavering determination, believing she deserves every effort that can be made. Claudia was last seen wearing a blue button-up shirt and dark blue jeans. Her community waits, hopes, and searches, determined not to give up until she is found safe. The mysterious case of Edvard Rustad. The disappearance and case of Edvard Rustad in 1934 remains one of Norway's most perplexing and unsolved mysteries. On January 11, 1934, police officer Einar Krogstad was on patrol in Oslo when he noticed an abandoned dark grey Dodge parked near Grev Weddell's Place. Upon closer inspection, he found the lifeless body of a well-dressed man inside, concealed under a large rug. The victim was quickly identified as Edvard Rustad, a 62-year-old wealthy businessman known for his work in real estate and scrap dealing. He had been shot 4 times in the back of the head. Rustad's case shocked the nation. Norway was not accustomed to violent crime, and the brutal nature of his death immediately grabbed the attention of the media. Newspapers were quick to speculate on possible motives, with robbery being the most obvious. Rustad was known to carry large amounts of cash, and at the time of his death, approximately 500 kroner and several bank books were missing. However, some investigators doubted this theory, arguing that the execution style suggested a more personal motive rather than a simple robbery gone wrong. Rustad was a creature of habit, a man described as punctual, sober, and highly disciplined. On the day of his demise, he left his home as usual and took the train to work with his wife, Sigrid Marie. At 1 p.m, he received a phone call, after which he told his warehouse manager that he had a meeting in 5 minutes. Witnesses later saw him at a cafe near Alexander Kielen's Place, where he stayed for about 30 minutes before leaving. This was the last confirmed sighting of him alive. The investigation into Rustad's case soon revealed a disturbing timeline of events. Witnesses reported seeing his car being driven erratically through Oslo, but by someone other than Rustad. At one point, another driver almost collided with the Dodge and clearly saw that the person behind the wheel was not the businessman. The driver was described as pale, with marked facial features and staring eyes. Later, the car was abandoned in the downtown area, where Officer Krogstad would ultimately discover Rustad's body. The discovery of Rustad's boots and hat provided an important clue. Traces of clay, mud, and dried pigments were found on them, which forensic analysis later linked to the burned ruins of the Boston Blacking Company paint factory outside Oslo. Reports of gunshots from that location at around 2 p.m. on the day of the silencing suggested that Rustad may have been taken out there before being transported back to the city. Despite this promising lead, no further evidence could confirm the theory. As investigators struggled to find suspects, Theories of foreign involvement emerged. The bullets retrieved from the crime scene were made by an American manufacturer, Western, and were of a type not sold in Norway. This led to speculation that the case had connections to organized crime in the United States. Adding to the mystery, witnesses recalled Rustad meeting with two men in the days leading up to his demise. One of them was described as a tall, well-built man with a square jaw and pale yellowish skin. He spoke broken Norwegian mixed with English, which some identified as an American dialect. The other man was thought to be a Norwegian who had spent a significant amount of time abroad. The FBI became involved in the investigation, with Director J. Edgar Hoover himself commenting that Rustad had been taken for a ride, a phrase often used to describe mafia-style executions. However, despite the international scope of the investigation, no clear suspects were ever identified. Theories of mafia involvement were fueled by Rustad's financial success during the Great Depression, which could have made him a target for extortion or fraud. However, no direct link to American crime syndicates was ever established. The case took a strange turn when, in 1941, journalist Axel Kieland claimed that he had met a man in a Waffen-SS uniform who confessed to Rustad's demise. Years later, after World War II, an Oslo police chief publicly stated that he knew who the individual was, but refused to reveal their identity due to a lack of evidence. These revelations only deepened the mystery, leaving many to wonder if the truth had been deliberately concealed. Over the years, investigators also considered the possibility that Rustad had been involved in shady business dealings. Some reports linked him to arson-for-profit schemes operated by the Andvik gang, known for setting fires to claim insurance payouts. However, no concrete evidence placed Rustad at the center of these activities. His colleagues and associates consistently described him as an honest and respectable businessman, further complicating the theory that he had been killed over a criminal dispute. As the years passed, the trail went cold. By 1959, the statute of limitations on the case had expired, ensuring that whoever was responsible for Rustad's case would never be held accountable. Despite ongoing interest in the case, no new leads have emerged, and it remains one of Norway's most baffling unsolved crimes. Today, the mystery of Edvard Rustad's case continues to intrigue historians and crime enthusiasts alike. What happened to the giant skulls that the Smithsonian discovered at Lovelock Cave? The discovery of giant skeletons across North America has long been a topic of intrigue, with one of the most well-documented cases being the alleged findings at Lovelock Cave in Nevada. Over the years, numerous reports have emerged about the Smithsonian Institution playing a role in suppressing these discoveries, particularly those that challenge mainstream historical narratives. According to researcher Richard J. Dewhurst, evidence of a race of giant humanoids has been deliberately hidden from the public, raising questions about the true history of early civilizations in North America. Lovelock Cave is widely known for being a site of great archaeological significance. In the early 20th century, miners searching for bat guano unearthed a series of remarkable artifacts, including oversized human bones. These discoveries prompted further excavations, which revealed mummies of red-haired giants measuring between 8 and 10 feet tall. Alongside these remains were enormous sandals, measuring 15 inches long, and handprints much larger than those of an average human. The findings seem to align with Native American oral traditions, particularly those of the Paiute tribe, which spoke of a race of giant red-haired beings. According to the Paiute legend, these giants were hostile and cannibalistic, and the tribe ultimately fought and trapped them inside Lovelock Cave before setting it on fire to eliminate them. Despite these astonishing discoveries, little physical evidence of the Lovelock giants remains accessible to the public today. Many of the artifacts recovered from the site are now housed in various museums and private collections, though some have seemingly disappeared over the decades. This has fueled speculation that institutions like the Smithsonian have played a role in suppressing or even destroying evidence that contradicts the established historical narrative. Some researchers claim that the Smithsonian has a history of covering up anomalies that challenge conventional archaeology, particularly when it comes to the existence of giants in North America. Richard J. Dewhurst, in his book The Ancient Giants Who Ruled America, presents numerous accounts from the 19th and early 20th centuries describing the discovery of giant skeletons. He argues that these findings were systematically suppressed by the Smithsonian Institution, which adopted policies to exclude any evidence suggesting pre-Columbian civilizations of non-native origins. According to Dewhurst, this effort to rewrite history was motivated by various political and ideological factors, including the desire to maintain the notion that Native American tribes were the first and only inhabitants of the continent before European colonization. One of the key figures Dewhurst highlights is Major John Wesley Powell, the first director of the Bureau of Ethnology at the Smithsonian. Powell was instrumental in shaping the institution's approach to archaeology, particularly in dismissing any discoveries that hinted at advanced or non-indigenous civilizations in ancient America. His 1880 report on limitations to the use of some anthropologic data effectively set the precedent for disregarding evidence that suggested alternative historical interpretations. Powell's stance became the foundation for the Smithsonian's policies, leading to the dismissal of findings such as the Lovelock giants as mere myths or misinterpretations. Skeptics argue that reports of giant skeletons and oversized human remains have been exaggerated or misrepresented over time. They claim that many of the so-called giant bones were likely the result of misidentified animal remains, or that the skeletal measurements were inaccurately reported. However, the sheer volume of historical reports, combined with Native American legends and the tangible artifacts recovered from Lovelock Cave, make it difficult to dismiss these accounts entirely. One particularly puzzling aspect of the Lovelock Cave discoveries is the lack of transparency regarding what happened to the remains. Some sources claim that the Smithsonian took possession of several of the giant skeletons, only for them to vanish without explanation. Others believe that the institution deliberately downplayed the findings to avoid controversy. If such remains were indeed real and had been thoroughly examined, why are they not displayed in museums for further study, and why is there so little documentation available to the public? These unanswered questions only add to the mystery. The alleged suppression of evidence related to giants in North America raises broader concerns about the control of historical narratives. If institutions like the Smithsonian have actively buried findings that challenge the accepted version of history, what other discoveries have been hidden from the public? The possibility that an entire chapter of human history has been erased, or at the very least, obscured, poses significant implications for our understanding of the past. Despite efforts to discredit these claims, independent researchers continue to push for further investigation into sites like Lovelock Cave. Some believe that with modern technology and renewed interest in alternative archaeology, it may be possible to rediscover evidence that has been lost or hidden. As new discoveries are made and more ancient sites are explored, the truth about North America's mysterious past may eventually come to light. The mystery of the Lovelock Cave giants remains an enduring mystery. Whether or not the Smithsonian played a role in concealing evidence, the stories of these towering beings persist in Native American oral traditions, historical records, and the artifacts that have been uncovered. Until definitive proof is brought forward, the legend of the Lovelock giants will continue to spark curiosity and debate, challenging the established views of early civilizations in North America. The disappearance of Rondres Jr. Phillips. The disappearance of Rondres Jr. Phillips remains one of Louisiana's most heartbreaking mysteries. On April 5, 2018, 4-year-old Junior vanished from the front yard of his family's home in Lisbon, Claiborne Parish. His mother, Sheila Phillips, called the police to report him missing, setting off an intensive search effort that, despite years of investigation, has yet to provide answers. Junior was last seen around 11 in the morning, wearing a white shirt, blue jeans, and black and yellow rubber boots. According to reports, he had been outside with his mother's boyfriend, Nicholas Gilbert, while Sheila was inside. His biological father was incarcerated at the time. Authorities were told that Junior had wandered off, leading to an immediate and urgent search of the surrounding area. Law enforcement, volunteers, and search teams scoured the dense woods near the family's mobile home, which was located 3 miles southeast of Lisbon. Even a nearby pond was drained in hopes of uncovering any trace of Rondres, but no new evidence emerged. As the hours stretched into days, law enforcement agencies, including the FBI and Louisiana State Police, became actively involved. A Level 2 Endangered and Missing Persons Advisory was issued, signaling the seriousness of the case. However, Junior's disappearance did not meet the specific criteria required for an Amber Alert. For an Amber Alert to be issued, authorities must confirm an unexplained disappearance, believe the individual is in immediate danger, and have enough descriptive information to aid in locating them. With no confirmed disappearance and no immediate suspect, authorities could not escalate the alert system, which may have hindered public awareness in the crucial early hours of the case. Despite exhaustive search efforts that included grid searches, helicopters, and drones, investigators failed to locate any leads. Eventually, the massive public search was scaled down, and authorities began to focus on specific areas of interest. Junior's case gained national attention when it was featured on programs such as In Pursuit with John Walsh and Faces of the Missing in People magazine. Unfortunately, while these features generated a significant response from the public, the tips that came in had already been examined by authorities, leading to no new breakthroughs. In 2020, law enforcement released an age-progressed photo of Junior, showing what he might look like at the age of 7. The FBI's Shreveport Resident Agency Office continues to treat the case as a high priority, urging the public to provide any information that could lead to his discovery. However, with no new updates, the investigation remains stalled, leaving his family desperate for answers. To this day, Junior's disappearance remains an agonizing mystery. His family and the investigators assigned to his case continue to hope that someone, somewhere, knows what happened. The Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office, along with the FBI, remains committed to finding out what happened to Junior, determined not to let his case be forgotten. Native American tribes that reside throughout the Adirondack region share stories of their ancestors' encounters with giants. The legends of giants from the Iroquois Confederacy are deeply ingrained in the history and folklore of the indigenous tribes that once ruled the vast wilderness of the Adirondack region. These tales speak of enormous beings that roamed the forests, powerful creatures that struck fear into those who dared to cross their paths. Among the most well-known are the Seneca's Stonecoats and the Onondaga's Northern Giants, both of which depict monstrous, nearly invincible beings that preyed upon humans. Many believe these legends were inspired by real events, serving as cautionary tales passed down through generations. Today, these stories continue to fuel speculation about unexplained disappearances and strange sightings in the Adirondack Mountains. The Seneca people tell of the Stonecoats, a terrifying race of giants covered in an impenetrable layer of stone. These creatures were said to be impervious to weapons and possessed immense strength. The Stonecoats were feared not only for their power, but also for their cannibalistic nature, as they were known to hunt and consume humans. According to legend, the only way to defeat them was through cunning and intelligence rather than brute force. One story tells of the hero Scunny Wundy, who outwitted the Stonecoats by tricking them into fighting amongst themselves. This act of deception ultimately led to their downfall, but the Seneca believed that some Stonecoats still roamed the forests, hiding in the shadows and waiting for their chance to return. A particularly chilling tale recounts how a young woman encountered one of these creatures while walking through the woods. Realizing she could not outrun or overpower it, she challenged the Stonecoat to a game of hide-and-seek. The creature, confident in its hunting abilities, accepted the challenge. The young woman cleverly disguised herself by climbing a tree and covering herself with branches and leaves. The Stonecoat searched for hours but was unable to find her, eventually giving up in frustration. This story, passed down through generations, served as a lesson about the power of wit and quick thinking in overcoming seemingly insurmountable challenges. The Onondaga people have their own legend of towering, monstrous beings known as the Northern Giants. These creatures were said to be even larger and more formidable than the Stonecoats, standing over 15 feet tall with unmatched strength and speed. Unlike the Stonecoats, who relied on their impenetrable armor, the Northern Giants were pure muscle, capable of overpowering even the bravest warriors. They were said to inhabit the dense forests of north-central New York, emerging from their hidden lairs to hunt humans. The Onondaga believed that only the strongest and most fearless warriors could stand against these terrifying creatures. One of the most famous tales tells of a group of Onondaga warriors who set out on a dangerous mission to eradicate the Northern Giants once and for all. Armed with their finest weapons, they ventured deep into the wilderness, tracking the creatures to their lair. When they finally encountered the giants, a fierce and brutal battle erupted. The warriors fought valiantly, using every ounce of their strength and skill to combat the enormous beasts. After hours of relentless fighting, they managed to slay the northern giants, ensuring the safety of their people. This tale reinforced the values of courage, resilience, and honor, teaching future generations the importance of standing against even the most fearsome adversaries. Both the Stonecoats and the Northern Giants share common elements, highlighting the Iroquois' deep respect for strength, intelligence, and survival. The Stonecoats represented an almost supernatural invulnerability, forcing those who encountered them to rely on cunning rather than force. The Northern Giants, on the other hand, were embodiments of brute power, requiring unparalleled bravery to defeat. These legends served as both cautionary tales and cultural teachings, emphasizing that different challenges in life require different approaches, sometimes wit, sometimes strength, and often a combination of both. Modern interpretations of these legends have sparked intriguing theories about their origins. Some researchers suggest that the stories could be based on encounters with early, now extinct humanoid species or remnants of forgotten prehistoric civilizations. Others believe the legends could be linked to real, terrifying experiences with massive predators or unexplained natural events. In recent years, reports of strange sightings in the Adirondack Mountains have led some to wonder if these ancient giants might still exist in some hidden form, concealed within the vast, unexplored wilderness. The legends of the Iroquois Confederacy remain an essential part of Native American heritage, preserving the values, beliefs, and mysteries of the past. Whether taken as historical truths, allegorical lessons, or supernatural warnings, the stories of the Stonecoats and the Northern Giants continue to captivate imaginations. The Adirondack region, with its deep forests and rugged terrain, holds on to its secrets, and as long as there are those willing to listen, the giants of legend will never be forgotten. The mystery of Rachel Mellon. Rachel Marie Mellon Skemp's disappearance remains one of Illinois' most haunting unsolved mysteries. Born on October 13, 1982, Rachel grew up in Bolingbrook, Illinois, with her mother, Amy, and stepfather, Vincent Mellon. She also had two younger half-siblings, Jason and Ashley. Her life was marked by instability, as her stepfather had a history of violence. Despite the turmoil at home, Rachel was known as a bright, bubbly, and kind-hearted girl who excelled in school and was loved by her friends. Rachel had a particularly close bond with her biological father, Jeff Skemp, who lived in Texas. In the summer of 1995, she visited him and expressed her desire to live with him permanently, believing she would be happier and safer under his care. However, she returned to Illinois, and the last time Jeff spoke with her was on Christmas Day of that same year. Just a month later, Rachel would vanish under highly suspicious circumstances. On January 31, 1996, Rachel stayed home from school due to a sore throat. She was alone in the house with her stepfather, Vince, and their German shepherd, Duke. It was an extremely cold day, with temperatures dropping to -20 degrees Fahrenheit. Around 10:45 in the morning, Rachel called her paternal grandmother to thank her for Christmas gifts. During the conversation, Rachel suddenly became quiet when her grandmother asked if Vince was there. Rachel confirmed that he was before ending the call abruptly. Vince later claimed that after the call, he and Rachel played Nintendo for a while before she went to take a nap. He then said that around 2:30 in the afternoon, he took Duke for a walk, leaving the front door unlocked. According to his account, Duke slipped out of his collar and chased a rabbit into a field. Vince claimed he left the dog to find his own way home and returned at around 3 in the afternoon. However, when he got back, he allegedly did not check on Rachel. At 3:15 in the afternoon, Rachel's younger half-sibling, Ashley, came home from school and noticed that Rachel was not there. A local real estate agent later found Duke running loose in the street and returned him to the Mellon Skemp residence between 4:30 and 5. It wasn't until Amy and Jason arrived home at 5 in the evening that the police were called to report Rachel missing. The circumstances of Rachel's disappearance were immediately suspicious. Her coat, shoes, wallet, purse, and Walkman were all still in her room, making it highly unlikely that she would have left the house voluntarily, especially in such brutal weather conditions. The blue blanket she had been wrapped in, along with 2 pillows from her bed, was missing. There was no sign of forced entry, leading investigators to believe she had not left of her own accord. When police questioned Vince, they noticed multiple scratches and cuts on his arm. He claimed they were from working on a car earlier that day. The police also searched Rachel's room and found disturbing entries in her diary. In one entry from August 1995, she wrote about how Vince had come into her room, kissed her, and touched her under the guise of teaching her about predators. Investigators also discovered an out-of-print book about father-daughter relationships in the home, along with a steak knife hidden under Rachel's pillow. Despite an extensive search involving ground, air, and water operations using geothermal imaging and drones, no trace of Rachel was found. Authorities also checked airports to ensure she had not run away to Texas to be with her father. Every avenue led to a dead end. Rachel's father, Jeff, quit his job in Texas and moved to Illinois to assist in the search. He confronted Vince, who insisted that someone must have taken Rachel while he was out walking the dog. Jeff continued to hold on to hope that his daughter was alive, keeping the same phone number since 1996 in case Rachel ever tried to reach out. In January 2000, 4 years after Rachel's disappearance, a grand jury issued a warrant for Vince's DNA samples. He was held for 9 hours at the Bolingbrook police station but refused to answer any questions, pleading the Fifth Amendment. He also failed a polygraph test. Amy, however, passed a lie detector test and continued to stand by Vince, believing that Rachel was still alive. The grand jury investigation concluded without any indictments due to a lack of physical evidence. That same year, Amy disposed of all of Rachel's belongings by donating them to Goodwill. Shortly afterward, the family relocated to Joliet, Illinois, and later moved to Tennessee. Vince continued to have run-ins with the law, facing charges for violence and drunk driving. Meanwhile, Jeff and Rachel's best friend Carrie remained active in trying to keep Rachel's case in the public eye. In 2002, the city of Bolingbrook honored Rachel's memory by planting a tree and placing a plaque in a park near her former home. Authorities have stated that they firmly believe Vince is responsible for Rachel's disappearance, but cannot charge him without solid evidence. Despite the passage of time, Rachel's case remains open, and her loved ones continue to seek justice. Rachel's father and best friend still fight to keep her story alive, hoping that one day the truth will come to light. The mystery of Rachel Mellon remains one of Illinois' most heartbreaking cold cases, with her family and friends longing for answers that may never come. The mystery of Maura Murray. On February 9, 2004, a woman by the name of Faith Westman called the Haverhill, New Hampshire police to report a car collision. It seemed like a black Saturn was trapped in a ditch not far from her house. After thanking her for her call, the dispatcher dispatched an officer. Authorities had received a second contact regarding the accident, this time from Butch Atwood, a bus driver. The woman who drove seemed to be shaken up, but she was unharmed. The woman claimed to have phoned roadside help before Atwood arrived at the crash scene, despite Atwood's assertion that he had offered to call the police. Atwood still made the police call after getting home, which was roughly 100 yards from the scene of the accident. Although he claimed not to be able to see the woman's car from his home, he could see other automobiles going by on the street. The first responding officer reached the area at 7:46 in the evening. However, the mysterious woman had vanished from sight. Authorities discovered that Maura Murray, aged 21, was the missing woman after conducting a preliminary check of the region. She was a University of Massachusetts Amherst nursing student, and earlier that day, she had left campus without informing anyone she was heading to New Hampshire, and she was never seen again after Murray disappeared in Haverhill that evening. Maura Murray grew up in Hanson. At the age of 6, the youngest child of Fred and Laurie Murray, she saw her parents divorce. Murray excelled academically as a track athlete and honor student. Despite receiving an acceptance to West Point, she chose to pursue her nursing studies at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. Although there were occasional issues, her experience there seemed to be mostly typical. Maura Murray was arrested 3 months before her vanishing for using a credit card number that had been stolen, but if she continued to behave well for 3 months, that charge was meant to be dropped. Additionally, Murray and her sister Kathleen, who was dealing with problems with her fiancé, had a tearful phone call on February 5, 2004. Murray had to be escorted back to her room because she was so upset by the call at her campus security job at the time. Fred Murray, Murray's father, left for Amherst on February 7, 2004. He claimed that after taking his daughter out to supper and car shopping, he returned to his motel. Murray was then given his car to use for the nighttime celebration, enabling her to drive back to her dorm. However, she struck a railing with her father's vehicle while returning in the early hours of the next day. The car sustained major damage, but Murray remained unhurt, but Fred soon discovered that if Murray obtained the necessary paperwork from the Registry of Motor Vehicles, his insurance would pay for the repairs. Murray allegedly seemed well when her father returned her to her hostel later that day, despite her being disturbed about the mishap. However, all changed on February 9, 2004, the following morning. Murray sent an email to her instructors informing them of a bereavement in her family and her intention to take a week off. Murray gave a call to the owner of the Bartlett, New Hampshire condo she had previously visited with her family. However, she didn't book a room. She did not make a reservation when she called a helpline for motels in Stowe, Vermont. She had even used the internet to find directions to Burlington, Vermont by that point. She didn't inform anyone where she was heading, so it's unclear what her intended destination was. Murray drove to an off-campus at 3:15 in the afternoon, and 3 took out $280. After that, she went to a liquor store and spent roughly $40 on boxed wine and Baileys. She also picked up the paperwork related to her vehicle accident from the Registry of Motor Vehicles. She put a call into her own voicemail at 4:37 in the afternoon. That was the last time her phone usage was documented. Murray's whereabouts between her Amherst errands and her automobile crash in Haverhill hours later are unknown. However, it is most likely that she was somewhere between 7 and 7:25 in the evening. The two people who reported the car accident, Westman and Atwood, called 911 at 7:27 and 7:42 in the evening. The first responding officer discovered a wrecked car, but no one was inside. The airbags were deployed and the car was locked. Evidence at the scene indicated the vehicle had been eastbound and had gone off the roadway, struck some trees, spun around, and came to rest facing the wrong way in the eastbound lane. The officer added that they could see a box of Franzia wine right behind the driver's seat of the vehicle. Additionally, they noticed crimson liquid on the car's ceiling and driver's side door. There were no evident clues to foul activity, and no tracks leading into the surrounding woods could be found in the snow. As Atwood was the last person known to have spoken to Murray, the officer initially approached him for assistance with the search. A state trooper eventually arrived, and then firemen and emergency medical assistance. It's thought that nobody ventured east during the initial search, even though they started by searching the region west of the scene. Murray's father, Fred, who learned of his daughter's disappearance only 24 hours after the collision, would later point fingers at numerous aspects of the police search operation. Fred remarked that he knew she was headed east. Her destination was Bartlett. Even as a baby, she was up there. For Christ's sake, I can still recall changing her diapers in a tent up there. Murray's phone records would suggest that she was thinking about renting a hotel in Bartlett, but the MapQuest directions she had in the car suggested to the police that she was actually going to Burlington. She had departed without making a definite reservation and without telling anyone about her plans, so it's still unknown where she was heading. During this time, several theories were shared by the media. However, her father said that she was in good spirits and had no worries or reason to run away from her life. Murray had been dealing with a lot of issues before going missing, including her legal troubles related to credit card theft, her concerns about her alcoholic sister, and the fact that she had crashed her father's car just hours before she was involved in another collision. There were indications that Murray meant her disappearance to be permanent, despite the belief held by many of her loved ones that she had just wanted to get away from the turmoil for a few days. Most significantly, when her dorm room was searched, it was discovered that she had packed the majority of her stuff into boxes before leaving. A printed email outlining various issues in her relationship with her partner was found on top of one of the boxes. Murray had left a few essentials in her car, but her backpack and mobile phone were among the few items that were stolen. Her phone was never used again, though. Every bank account connected to her has stayed empty. Furthermore, nothing more than unsubstantiated rumors and purported sightings have surfaced since Maura Murray vanished in 2004. Putting aside sentimental attachments, many have concluded that Murray did not plan to pass away that day based on things found in her car, including college textbooks, birth pills, and tooth whitener. Murray may have fled the scene to avoid difficulties after smashing her automobile a few hours after wrecking her father's car, according to a different scenario. Authorities assumed Murray had been drinking because of the quantity of alcohol discovered at the scene. Murray didn't want to take a chance on her record of good behavior following her credit card fraud arrest. If it had been warmer outside, the adjacent woods may have been a nice spot to hide out, but it was currently quite cold. Additionally, since the area was not checked during the first search, she would have had to flee on the road and move east of the accident scene, as there were no footprints discovered in the snow heading to the woods. Remarkably, a few miles from the accident scene, between 8 and 8:30 in the evening, a contractor who had been driving past on the route where the incident happened that evening later claimed seeing a woman walking westbound. The contractor was first unclear of the precise date he had seen the individual, so he didn't submit the reported sighting until months later. It's still unclear if Murray was the individual in question. Amateur investigators have looked into all of these possibilities and more in the years following Maura Murray's disappearance. Atwood, the final person to have seen Murray alive, has been the subject of other speculations. That he did not stay with Murray until assistance arrived was viewed by some as suspicious. In addition, he and his spouse relocated to Florida not long after the incident. Most startlingly of all, some citizen investigators have suggested that Murray's father may have mistreated her, possibly to the point where she fled. Murray's family has refuted this claim. The unsolved case of the Fort Worth missing trio. The Fort Worth missing trio remains one of the most baffling unsolved cases in American history. On December 23, 1974, 3 women, Mary Rachel Trelica, Lisa Renee Wilson, and Julie Ann Mosley, vanished without a trace while Christmas shopping at the Seminary South Shopping Center in Fort Worth, Texas. Their car was left behind in the mall's parking lot with shopping bags inside, but the girls were nowhere to be found. Despite countless investigations, tips, and theories, their disappearance remains an enduring mystery. Rachel, aged 17, Renee, 14, and Julie, 9, left for the shopping center around noon. Julie, the youngest, had asked to join the trip at the last minute because she didn't want to spend the day alone. Her mother gave her permission, trusting that Rachel and Renee would look after her. The girls had plans to return home by 4 in the afternoon, so Renee could attend a Christmas party with her boyfriend. Their shopping trip started with a stop at a local surplus store, where Renee picked up some layaway items. Afterward, they headed to the shopping mall. Several witnesses reported seeing the girls inside the mall that afternoon, and one person claimed to have seen them exiting through Sears. However, they never made it home. By evening, their families grew anxious and began searching for them. Around 6 in the evening, they arrived at the mall and found Rachel's car in the Sears upper-level parking lot. Inside the vehicle, Christmas gifts and personal belongings were found, suggesting the girls had made it back to the car. However, they had mysteriously vanished. The next day, an unusual letter arrived at Rachel's home. The handwritten note, supposedly from Rachel, claimed that the girls had gone to Houston and would return in a week. The letter read, "I know I'm going to catch it, but we just had to get away. We're going to Houston. See you in about a week. The car is in Sears upper lot. Love, Rachel." The note's envelope was addressed in pencil, and Rachel's name had been initially misspelled and corrected. The families immediately doubted its authenticity, as it made no sense for the girls to run away just 2 days before Christmas and leave their car behind. At the time, the police considered the letter genuine and treated the case as a runaway situation. This assumption led to delays in the investigation. Rachel's husband, Tommy Trelica, believed the letter was written by someone else in an attempt to mislead investigators. Over time, forensic experts analyzed the handwriting but could not definitively confirm or rule out Rachel as the author. As the years passed, theories about what happened to the 3 girls varied widely. Some believed they were taken by a stranger or multiple individuals. Others suggested the involvement of someone they knew. A potential connection to human trafficking was considered, but no concrete evidence supported this theory. Some family members suspected foul play from individuals in Rachel's life, but no suspects were ever officially named. In the decades since their disappearance, numerous leads have been investigated. Eyewitnesses claimed to have seen the girls in different locations, but none of these reports were verified. The case has remained active in public interest, with amateur sleuths and private investigators trying to uncover new information. Despite these efforts, no significant breakthroughs have been made. The disappearance has had a lasting impact on the families, leading to strained relationships and heartbreak. Over the years, family members have disagreed on theories and potential suspects, further complicating the search for answers. The pain of not knowing what happened to Rachel, Renee, and Julie has haunted their loved ones for nearly 5 decades. Even after all this time, authorities continue to receive tips, but none have led to a resolution. In 2022, investigators used modern forensic techniques to revisit some aspects of the case, but no new evidence has surfaced. The Fort Worth missing trio remains a tragic and unsolved mystery, a haunting reminder of how 3 girls disappeared in broad daylight, leaving behind only questions and grief. The mystery of Elizabeth Ann Beth Kenyon. Elizabeth Ann Beth Kenyon was a young woman who mysteriously vanished from Coral Gables, Florida, on March 5, 1984. Her disappearance remains one of the most unsettling missing person cases linked to notorious perpetrator Christopher Wilder. Beth was a beautiful and accomplished woman, known for her kind demeanor and intelligence. She had participated in beauty pageants, including the Miss Florida contest, and worked as a teacher. She was last seen in the parking lot of the school where she worked, speaking briefly with a security guard before leaving in her car. Beth's absence did not immediately raise concern. Her roommate initially believed she had gone to visit her parents in Pompano Beach, Florida. However, days passed without any word from her. Then, on March 8, 1984, a gas station attendant who knew Beth claimed to have seen her in the company of a man. She was standing by her car, speaking with the man who had arrived in a different vehicle. The attendant overheard part of their conversation, including a mention of Beth's picture being taken. Beth reportedly mentioned heading to the airport before leaving the station. When Beth failed to show up for work the next day, her family and friends grew concerned, and she was reported missing. On March 11th, her car was found abandoned at Miami International Airport. There was no record of her boarding any flights, and no evidence suggested she had left the area. Investigators grew increasingly alarmed as they tried to piece together Beth's last known movements. The gas station attendant later identified the man Beth had spoken to as Christopher Wilder, a name that would soon become infamous. Wilder had a history of luring young women under the pretense of photography sessions. Investigators discovered that Wilder had previously dated Beth and had even proposed marriage to her, though she had turned him down due to their age difference. When questioned, Wilder claimed he had not seen Beth in over a month, yet he had knowledge of where her car was located before this information was made public. This raised suspicions, but before authorities could question him further, Wilder embarked on a violent crime spree that would claim multiple lives. Beth's case was not the only one connected to Wilder. Another young woman, 20-year-old Chari Gonzalez, had vanished just days before Beth, on February 26, 1984. Chari had also been a contestant in the Miss Florida beauty pageant. The similarities between the 2 cases were undeniable. Both women were young, attractive, and involved in the same beauty contest, leading investigators to believe that Wilder may have been targeting pageant participants. Christopher Wilder became one of the most wanted men in America as he moved across multiple states, taking, assaulting, and silencing young women. He was suspected of being involved in several disappearances, including those of Mary Opitz and Tammy Leppert. His spree came to an end in Colebrook, New Hampshire, on April 13, 1984, when he was fired at and killed during a confrontation with police. Despite his death, many of the cases linked to him, including Beth Kenyon's disappearance, remain unsolved. The exact fate of Beth remains unknown. No trace of her body has ever been found, and without physical evidence, her family has never been able to get the closure they desperately seek. Many believe Wilder was responsible for her death, given his history and the circumstances surrounding her last known sighting. However, without concrete proof, she is still officially listed as a missing person. Beth's disappearance serves as a tragic reminder of the many young women who fell victim to Wilder. Despite the passage of time, her case continues to haunt those who knew her, and her story remains an enduring mystery. Investigators still urge anyone with information to come forward, hoping that one day the truth about Beth Kenyon's fate will finally come to light. The mystery of Nancy Ung. Nancy Ng, a Californian woman, mysteriously disappeared while kayaking on Lake Atitlan in Guatemala, leaving behind a case filled with unanswered questions and conflicting accounts. What was meant to be a peaceful retreat turned into a tragic mystery, as her family continues to seek the truth about what really happened to her. Nancy had traveled to Guatemala for a yoga retreat, hoping to take a break from her busy life. She was part of a group that embarked on a kayaking excursion on the lake, an activity meant to be a relaxing experience. However, something went terribly wrong. According to one witness, Nancy jumped into the water for a swim but never resurfaced. Authorities quickly concluded that she had drowned, citing her belongings found on the lake's shore as evidence. Yet, this explanation did not sit well with Nancy's family, who immediately questioned the circumstances surrounding her disappearance. One of the most pressing concerns is the conflicting accounts provided by those last seen with Nancy. The yoga retreat organizer, who also owned the resort where Nancy was staying, claimed that she had checked out early and left the retreat. This contradicted both the witness's statement and video footage that clearly placed Nancy on the lake the day she vanished. If she had truly left, then how could she have been seen kayaking? The inconsistencies in these accounts only fueled the family's suspicions that something more sinister may have occurred. Adding to their concerns is the fact that Nancy was not a strong swimmer. Her family finds it difficult to believe that she would willingly jump into deep water, especially without a life jacket. They also question the actions or inactions of the person who was with her at the time. If she had been struggling in the water, why wasn't there a more immediate attempt to help her? And why did others in the retreat group seem reluctant to cooperate with the investigation? These unanswered questions have made it impossible for the family to accept the official explanation of accidental drowning. Frustrated by the lack of transparency and cooperation, Nancy's family took matters into their own hands. They hired a private search and rescue team, deploying helicopters, drones, boats, and divers in an attempt to locate her. Despite their extensive efforts, there was no sign of Nancy. The complete lack of physical evidence, aside from her abandoned kayak, has led them to believe that she may not have drowned at all. They suspect that she could have been kidnapped or harmed by someone from the retreat. Their suspicions only grew when other members of the retreat quickly returned to the United States and refused to speak about what had happened. It is unusual for a group of people to be so uncooperative in an investigation, particularly when they were the last ones to see a missing person alive. The silence of these individuals has created an unsettling atmosphere of secrecy, making Nancy's family believe that they may be withholding crucial information. As the FBI and the State Department continue to look into the case, Nancy's family refuses to give up. They are determined to uncover the truth and bring justice to their loved one. Until concrete evidence is found, her disappearance remains a chilling mystery that has captivated the public's attention. The unanswered questions, conflicting testimonies, and unusual behavior of those involved have turned what was initially considered a tragic accident into a case that demands further scrutiny. The disappearance of Nancy Ng is more than just another missing persons case. It is a troubling reminder of how quickly an innocent vacation can turn into a nightmare, and how justice can be delayed when the truth is hidden in secrecy. Her family's relentless pursuit of answers keeps hope alive that one day they will uncover what truly happened on the waters of Lake Atitlan. The unsolved disappearance of Erin Gillern. The disappearance of Erin Gillern remains one of the most perplexing and unsettling mysteries in recent history. A successful and well-liked research assistant at the United Nations Industrial Development Organization in Vienna, Austria, Erin vanished without a trace on October 29, 2007. His case has been marred by inconsistencies, unanswered questions, and allegations of police negligence, leaving his family and supporters in a desperate search for the truth. Erin was a former seminarian and had gained recognition in Austria after winning the title of Mr. Gay Austria in 2006. Despite his achievements and seemingly stable life, his sudden disappearance raised many suspicions. Just a month before he went missing, he had returned to his hometown of Cortland, New York, to spend time with his mother, Catherine Gilleran. She was preparing to sell her house and move to Vienna to be closer to her son. The two had spoken on October 27, 2007, in what would become their final conversation. The Austrian police reported that Erin was last seen running naked from the Kaiserbrundel sauna in Weiburggasse after an alleged altercation. However, this contradicts other information that places his last known location at a different sauna on Stephansplatz after work. The lack of clarity on his whereabouts at the time of his disappearance has only fueled further speculation and doubt regarding the official account of events. Authorities quickly ruled that Aaron had taken his own life by jumping into the Danube Canal. They attributed his actions to alleged mental instability and possible drug use, but his family and friends strongly rejected this theory. Those close to him insisted that Aaron had no history of depression or substance abuse and had no reason to disappear voluntarily. Instead, they believe he may have been the victim of a hate crime, robbery, or even trafficking. The speed at which the police closed the case without further investigation led many to suspect negligence or a deliberate attempt to conceal the truth. Aaron's mother, Catherine Gilleran, has been unwavering in her fight for justice. For years, she has tirelessly worked to keep her son's case in the public eye. She has hired private investigators, engaged with media outlets, and filed multiple complaints against Austrian authorities for their handling of the case. Every year, on the anniversary of Aaron's disappearance, she holds vigils outside the sauna where he was last reported to have been seen. She refuses to accept the notion that her son's case is unsolvable. Her journey for answers was documented in the film Gone, The Disappearance of Aaron Gillan, which premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2011. The documentary highlights the inconsistencies in the police investigation and exposes the indifference shown by law enforcement toward Aaron's case. It paints a troubling picture of the challenges faced by those seeking justice when authorities are unwilling to pursue a thorough investigation. Despite the years that have passed, Aaron's case remains open and unresolved. His mother continues to hold on to hope, believing that someone, somewhere, knows what happened to her son. She remains determined to uncover the truth and bring closure to a mystery that has left so many questions unanswered. The disappearance of Aaron Gillan is a haunting reminder of how cases can be dismissed without proper investigation, and how the pursuit of justice often falls upon the loved ones left behind. The mass vanishing of Rio Verde. The mystery of Rio Verde remains one of the most perplexing tales in South American history. The story takes place in 1923, deep in the jungles of Brazil, where an entire village of 600 people is said to have vanished without a trace. The eerie silence of the town immediately unsettled visitors, who found homes and buildings left in an orderly yet abandoned state. Doors were ajar, windows were open, and personal belongings remained untouched, yet there was no sign of any residents. The complete absence of life baffled those who stumbled upon the scene. Authorities were alerted, and investigators arrived from nearby towns to conduct a thorough search. As they combed through the village, they made a chilling discovery in the local schoolhouse. Written on the blackboard were the ominous words, "There is no salvation." The meaning of this cryptic message has been debated ever since. Some believe it was a final warning or a desperate plea left behind by the townspeople before their disappearance. Others think it could have been part of an elaborate hoax or even a misinterpretation of historical events. Despite extensive searches, no trace of the missing villagers was ever found. No bodies, no signs of struggle, and no evidence of a mass evacuation. It was as if the entire population of Rio Verde had simply ceased to exist. To this day, there are no official records confirming the town's fate, making it one of Brazil's most mysterious legends. Many South Americans regard the tale as folklore, passed down through generations, but its persistence has kept it alive in mystery discussions worldwide. Various theories have attempted to explain the sudden disappearance. Some historians suggest that the villagers may have fled due to political unrest. In 1923, Brazil was facing civil strife under the presidency of Artur da Silva Bernardes, who was engaged in conflicts with rebel groups. Political instability had displaced many communities during this time, and it is possible that Rio Verde's residents abandoned their homes to escape potential violence. However, mass evacuations usually leave some form of evidence, documents, witness accounts, or settlements in other areas, but no such records exist for Rio Verde's inhabitants. Another theory proposes that the village was attacked and its people taken. Yet, this idea is challenged by the fact that no signs of violence, struggle, or looting were reported. If an attack had taken place, there should have been some indication, burned buildings, damaged structures, or remnants of conflict, but the village was left untouched, adding to the eerie mystery. Perhaps the most perplexing element of this tale is the phrase left on the school's blackboard. "There is no salvation" suggests a sense of doom or foreboding, leading some to speculate supernatural involvement. Stories of cursed lands and paranormal events have surrounded the case, with some believing that the town was claimed by an unknown force. Given Brazil's rich history of folklore, it is not surprising that such supernatural theories have gained traction. The origins of the Rua Verde legend are difficult to trace, as most references to it appear to originate from a Russian magazine that allegedly translated an older Western article. This has led some skeptics to argue that the entire story may be fabricated or a misinterpretation of real historical events. Despite this, the legend has persisted, with alleged photographs of the abandoned village surfacing online. However, these images cannot be verified, leaving researchers and enthusiasts with more questions than answers. Ultimately, the fate of Rua Verde remains a mystery. Whether it was a political evacuation, an attack, or something far more mysterious, the lack of concrete evidence continues to fuel speculation. While some believe it to be an exaggerated tale, the story's endurance over the decades suggests that, at the very least, there was some real event that inspired it. Until new evidence emerges, Rua Verde will remain one of history's most mysterious disappearances, forever lingering in the realm of the unknown. A Viking settlement in Greenland, home to thousands, mysteriously vanished in the 1400s. The mysterious disappearance of the Norse settlers in Greenland during the 15th century remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Once home to thousands, these Viking communities thrived for centuries in an unforgiving landscape, adapting to the harsh Arctic environment while building farms, churches, and settlements that have left behind enduring ruins. Despite their resilience, the Norse presence on Greenland inexplicably collapsed, with all inhabitants either perishing or fleeing. Though scholars have uncovered numerous contributing factors, the precise cause of their vanishing remains unknown. The Viking presence in Greenland dates back to when Eric the Red was exiled from Iceland. According to medieval sagas, he named the land Greenland to attract more colonists, despite the fact that the island was mostly covered in ice. Nevertheless, within the sheltered fjords, there existed patches of lush meadows where the Norse established two major settlements. The larger eastern settlement lay at the southern tip of Greenland, while the smaller western settlement was located approximately 240 miles away. Here, the Norse raised livestock, hunted seals, walruses, and caribou, and built homes and churches using sod and stone. For centuries, these communities endured, with the eastern settlement growing into a network of around 500 farms and 12 major churches. At its height, Greenland's Norse population may have reached 5,000, though modern estimates suggest the number was closer to 2,500. Despite their ability to survive in extreme conditions, the settlements began to decline by the late 1300s. The western settlement was the first to vanish, while the eastern settlement persisted a little longer. The last known written record of the Norse presence is a 1408 account of a wedding that took place in the eastern settlement. However, by around 1450, archaeological evidence suggests the land was entirely abandoned. Theories regarding the mysterious collapse of Greenland's Norse civilization abound. One possible explanation is climate change. During the period of Norse habitation, the world experienced the medieval warm period, which provided favorable conditions for farming in Greenland. However, this was followed by the onset of the Little Ice Age, a period of cooling that made agriculture increasingly difficult. As temperatures dropped, the growing season shortened, sea ice expanded, and storms became more frequent. This would have placed immense pressure on the Norse settlers, making survival progressively harder. Another factor may have been environmental degradation. The Norse relied heavily on fragile pasturelands to sustain their livestock, but overgrazing and soil erosion likely reduced agricultural productivity. With fewer resources available, starvation and malnutrition may have contributed to the settlement's decline. Furthermore, the Norse were dependent on trade with Europe, particularly for iron and other essential supplies. As Europe's economic interests shifted, trade routes became less reliable, leaving the settlers increasingly isolated. Conflicts with the native Inuit population may have also played a role. The Norse coexisted with the Thule people, ancestors of today's Inuit, who had a deep understanding of the Arctic environment and were better adapted to its extreme conditions. Evidence suggests that the Norse may have engaged in both trade and hostilities with the Thule, and some researchers believe that tensions between the two groups could have escalated, leading to violence that further weakened the Norse settlements. Disease and famine may have compounded these challenges. Starvation and harsh winters could have significantly reduced the population, while diseases brought by occasional European visitors might have further devastated the already struggling settlers. Additionally, as numbers dwindled, maintaining a functioning society would have become increasingly difficult. Ultimately, no single theory can fully explain the disappearance of Greenland's Norse settlers. It is likely that a combination of climate change, economic decline, environmental mismanagement, and potential conflicts all contributed to their gradual demise. Despite centuries of research, the precise fate of these people remains a mystery, leaving historians and archaeologists to continue searching for clues that may one day provide definitive answers. The ruins of the Norse settlements still stand in Greenland today, silent remnants of a lost civilization. The abrupt disappearance of the Viking settlers serves as a haunting reminder of the fragile balance between human societies and the environments in which they exist. Though their voices have long since faded, their legacy endures in the landscapes they once called home and the questions their disappearance continues to inspire. In the rugged landscape of northeastern South Africa, near the town of Mpuluzi, lies one of the most puzzling and intriguing geological anomalies ever discovered. A giant footprint measuring approximately 1.2 meters or 4 feet long, embedded in solid granite. This footprint has sparked significant debate and curiosity among scientists, historians, and enthusiasts alike. The giant footprint is located in a remote area of northeastern South Africa, a region known for its rich geological formations and ancient history. The footprint is impressively detailed, with clear impressions of toes and an arch, as if left by a colossal human-like being. The precision and clarity of the print, preserved in granite, a rock formed from the slow crystallization of magma beneath the Earth's surface, adds to the mystery. Granite is an igneous rock, known for its hardness and durability. The formation of a footprint in such a material is perplexing, as granite typically forms deep within the Earth's crust under high pressure and temperature conditions. The apparent age of the granite, estimated to be between 200 million and 3 billion years old, further complicates the understanding of how such a footprint could exist. One of the more conventional theories suggests that the footprint could have been made by an ancient human ancestor. However, the size of the footprint poses a significant challenge to this theory. At 1.2 meters long, the footprint suggests a being of enormous size, far beyond the proportions of known hominids. This discrepancy has led some to propose that it could be evidence of a yet-to-be-discovered species or a mythological giant. The mysterious geometric shapes surrounding the Richat structure. The Richat structure, also known as the Eye of the Sahara, is a remarkable and mysterious geological formation located in the Sahara Desert of Mauritania. Spanning approximately 45 kilometers or 28 miles in diameter, this circular structure has captivated scientists and enthusiasts alike. Recently, the advent of satellite technology and tools like Google Earth have allowed for a more detailed examination of this area, leading to the discovery of strange geometric shapes surrounding the Richat structure. The Richat structure was initially thought to be an impact crater due to its circular shape. However, subsequent studies have revealed that it is actually a highly eroded geologic dome. The structure is composed of concentric circles of sedimentary rock, uplifted by geological processes. The Eye of the Sahara has also been associated with various historical narratives. Some have speculated that it could be the location of the lost city of Atlantis, as described by Plato. While this theory remains controversial and widely debated, it adds an intriguing layer to the mystery of the Richat structure. The advent of Google Earth has revolutionized the way we explore our planet. This tool allows anyone with an internet connection to view high-resolution satellite images of virtually any location on Earth. Researchers and amateurs alike have used Google Earth to uncover previously unnoticed details in remote regions, including the area around the Richat structure. Users of Google Earth have identified several geometric shapes in the vicinity of the Richat structure. These shapes include perfect circles, straight lines, and rectangular formations that appear to be unnatural. The precision and alignment of these shapes suggest that they could be the remnants of human-made structures or other purposeful arrangements, rather than random geological formations. One of the most compelling theories is that these geometric shapes are remnants of ancient human settlements or constructions. The Sahara Desert was not always as arid as it is today. Thousands of years ago, it was a lush and fertile region, capable of supporting large populations. The geometric shapes could be the foundations of ancient buildings, roads, or other infrastructure built by civilizations long lost to history. Another theory posits that the geometric shapes may have been used for astronomical purposes. Ancient civilizations often built structures aligned with celestial bodies for calendrical or ritualistic reasons. The precise alignment of some of these shapes with cardinal directions and celestial events supports this hypothesis. They could have served as observatories, calendars, or places of worship aligned with the stars and planets. If the geometric shapes are indeed remnants of ancient human activity, they could significantly alter our understanding of prehistoric civilizations in the Sahara region. This discovery would suggest that advanced societies existed in the area, capable of building complex structures and possibly engaging in sophisticated astronomical practices. It would prompt a re-evaluation of the timeline and extent of human development in Africa. The study of the Richat structure and its surrounding anomalies also offers opportunities for advances in geological research. Understanding the formation and erosion processes that created the Eye of the Sahara and the geometric shapes could provide insights into similar geological formations around the world. It would help scientists better understand the dynamic processes that shape our planet's surface. The mysterious aerial school encounter. On the morning of September 16, 1994, the children and teachers at Aerial School in Zimbabwe started their day as usual. Nevertheless, an occurrence during the morning break would finally seize the interest of the whole population. A total of 62 students would report to their teachers that spaceships had landed near the school. In addition, a group of individuals of short stature exited from the spacecraft, clearly visible to the witnesses, who, interestingly, all provided identical descriptions of the event. On the 16th of September, the instructors at Aerial School in Rua, Zimbabwe, had a planned meeting while the students were having their morning playtime. Despite the presence of a single adult overseeing the children at the tuck shop, they were essentially left unsupervised. While they were enthusiastically shouting to one another in the schoolyard, a number of them observed a massive silver disc in the sky above. In addition, there were numerous smaller aircrafts maneuvering around the main object. Instantly, a momentary silence enveloped the schoolyard as every child directed their focus towards the shining objects in the sky. As the mysterious object flew directly above, it appeared to be preparing to touch down in close proximity to a tiny hill located on the other side of the fence surrounding the schoolyard. The children sprinted towards the barrier in order to obtain a more advantageous view. Despite being part of the school, the site was inaccessible to the children due to ongoing clearing operations. While observing, a diminutive being, approximately 3 feet in height, abruptly emerged from the spherical entity. The children later characterized the creature as being abnormally thin and with exceedingly huge eyes. He descended from the aircraft and proceeded to stroll towards the fence where they were observing. It's been suggested that they emitted a synchronized exhalation of surprise, as upon taking just a few steps, he became aware of the presence of the youngsters and halted his movement. Meanwhile, a different individual observed from atop the vehicle. After a brief period of intense eye contact, the first being turned around and returned to the spacecraft. Shortly thereafter, the spacecraft disappeared, along with the smaller crafts in the sky. Several children would enter the school premises in a state of distress, shedding tears and saying that something terrifying was happening outside. The region was filled with tales of demons and malevolent beings, and a few of the smaller children firmly believed that this was indeed what they had witnessed. The older children, despite their continued unease, were undergoing a phenomenon that was subsequently characterized as telepathic communication with the being that stood in the field before them. A significant number of individuals already possessed prior knowledge of what they had witnessed. Amidst the chaos, the school's teachers were hauled out of their meeting. One of them would later express that they simply heard them emitting loud and continuous screams. Another individual expressed initial skepticism and acknowledged that although they believed the youngsters had seen something, they were inclined to seek a more logical and sensible explanation. The school's headmaster acknowledged the children's encounter, but originally deemed it prudent to leave the problem unresolved. Subsequent to the weekend, the school started receiving a series of phone calls from anxious parents. Each individual would pose the identical inquiry, asking what had occurred to cause such intense fear in their children. Cynthia Hind, in conjunction with Dr. John Mack, would engage in individual conversations with the youngsters. Each would possess identical information, and Mack firmly believed in the children's genuineness and the legitimacy of the situation. He would assert that the witnesses recounted these events with the authenticity and vividness of personal experience. Several children who reported receiving telepathic connection from the ominous figure before them would have intriguing revelations. One witness would explain the event as suddenly feeling as if a vivid mental image was rapidly passing through their mind, a psychic message, a form of communication transmitted through the mind. Another individual informed Hind and Mack that the mysterious beings had come to inform them that they are not adequately caring for the planet. Another witness had a perspective that was even more ominous. They asserted that they had vivid mental images depicting the apocalypse, characterized by the complete destruction of all trees and the inability of individuals to breathe. These specific pieces of information are consistently found in a large number of UFO sightings and have persisted for several decades. It is crucial to bear in mind that most, if not all, of these children would have had minimal to no exposure to UFO experiences in significant depth. It's important to note that television was still a limited platform, far from the extensive reach it has achieved today. Essentially, it is improbable that every single one of the 62 children, ranging in age from 6 to 12 years old, would have collaborated and sustained such a deceit. Others expressed similar empathy towards the circumstances recounted by the children. Undoubtedly, other individuals who have scrutinized the case subsequently arrived at the same conclusions, that the youngsters, regardless of what they witnessed, were unequivocally speaking the truth. Tim Leach, the BBC bureau chief for Zimbabwe, would personally meet and interview the majority of the children who had observed the peculiar incidents that occurred that morning, and he would do so immediately following the sighting. He would assert that the occurrence and the testimonies of the youngsters who observed it provided him with a fresh outlook on life, the cosmos, and everything. It appeared that there were explanations provided for why the pyrotechnic performance was actually a meteor shower. Nevertheless, numerous witnesses reported sightings of these fireball-like vehicles around the region on that particular day. Additionally intriguing is an occurrence that transpired a mere 2 days prior, a mere 25 miles in proximity, at the Pier House School. That morning, approximately 100 schoolchildren observed an unusual flying vehicle descending at an unusually low altitude, seeming as if it were preparing to touch down. In addition, the radio system utilized by the school bus service experienced a complete outage during the sighting. Furthermore, at least one of the youngsters who observed the incident at Ariel School had previously spotted an unusual phenomenon in the sky and playfully referred to it as a UFO before concluding that it was likely an aeroplane. Nevertheless, she internally acknowledged the peculiarity of the thing, likening it to a cigarette. It was only after the events at the school unfolded that she started to really consider the possibility that the object she had witnessed that morning was the same one that had recently landed near the school. Additionally, it is worth noting that the accounts of the creature that had moved away from the spacecraft include specific characteristics of a dark and shadowy figure. In the realm of the unexplained, two phenomena have captured the public's imagination and sparked intense debate: unidentified flying objects and shadow people. While both have been reported independently, a growing number of accounts suggest a curious connection between them. Witnesses who encounter UFOs often report seeing shadowy humanoid figures, commonly referred to as shadow people, during or immediately following these sightings. Witnesses of shadow people during UFO encounters consistently describe the figures as dark, human-like silhouettes without any distinguishing features. These shadow beings are typically seen in peripheral vision and often vanish when directly observed. They are reported to move quickly and silently, sometimes appearing to glide rather than walk. Encounters with shadow people are often accompanied by intense emotional and physical reactions. Witnesses report feelings of dread, fear, and unease, as well as physical sensations such as chills, a feeling of heaviness, and an unexplained drop in temperature. These reactions suggest that the presence of shadow people exerts a significant psychological and physiological impact on witnesses. Emily Trim, a witness, would later describe the sound as a high-pitched frequency followed by a flash before the craft became visible. She would also clarify that she was uncertain about the duration of the episode. The descriptions of the colors that rapidly arose, including blues, reds, and greens, are commonly reported in numerous other UFO sightings, along with the observation that they seem to encircle the perimeter of the spacecraft at a high velocity. Particularly intriguing are the assertions made by one of the witnesses, who reported that a group of individuals gathered to inspect the area where the unidentified flying object touched down. Despite the prohibition, she reported that people who entered the site discovered charred grass where the enigmatic object had been. Both the teachers and many of the children's parents first had difficulty fully trusting the reports the children shared that morning. During a documentary, some 18 months after the occurrence, when questioned about their feelings towards others who doubted their account, the children expressed sadness and frustration, with one youngster even suggesting that such skepticism would cast doubt on the truthfulness of their claims. Truly, had this event been observed by only one youngster, or even 2 or 3, such rejections might have resulted in the incidents being disregarded before it could spread to the neighboring town, let alone the rest of the world. The presence of numerous witnesses to the incident provided a source of mutual support and validation regarding their observations. In addition to the previous statement of a sighting at a school 25 miles away, Cynthia Hind also gathered other reports of UFO activity and sightings of peculiar creatures in the aerial area prior to the incident. During the period preceding the aerial school event, a mother and her small son asserted that they observed an unidentified flying object during daytime hours. Arguably, the most disconcerting of these observations, however, originated from a truck driver who asserted to have witnessed peculiar entities by the side of the road one evening during his journey. The enduring impression of the aerial school UFO incident is that, although the true nature of the peculiar craft and its much more peculiar occupants remains uncertain, it is quite likely that the students did indeed witness an unidentified phenomenon on that September morning in 1994. Every kid, who will now be in their 30s, asserts that what they witnessed that morning was undeniably genuine. Several individuals who observed the peculiar, darkly dressed individuals from a close distance assert that they will never forget the intense gaze directed towards them. Undoubtedly, one can only speculate on the frequency with which these witnesses have been roused from their slumber by recollections of the peculiar creature they encountered, not only during their formative years, but also in their adult lives. In addition, not only individuals involved in UFO research, but also experts in child behavior argue that it would be highly implausible for numerous youngsters of such a tender age to unanimously agree on and consistently maintain the same narrative, especially for an extended period of time. There is little question that the children were totally honest in recounting the events of that morning, and they continue to be that way even now as adults. Regardless of whether the meeting was intentional or not, it is important to reiterate that the witnesses received identical telepathic signals that morning, which have also been reported in several incidents of close contact. Themes that center on the improper utilization of technology and the harm being inflicted onto the world, and ones that require attention. The most compelling explanation for the aerial school encounter is the extraterrestrial hypothesis. The detailed descriptions of the craft and beings, along with the telepathic communication reported by the children, align with other accounts of UFO encounters. The messages about environmentalism and the dangers of technology also mirror themes reported in other close encounter cases. The involvement of credible researchers like Cynthia Hind and Dr. John Mack further supports the possibility that the aerial school encounter was a genuine mysterious event. The aerial school encounter underscores the importance of open-minded inquiry in the study of UFO phenomena. The willingness of researchers like Cynthia Hind and Dr. John Mack to listen to and validate the children's experiences helped bring the incident to light and ensured that it was taken seriously. This open-minded approach is crucial for advancing our understanding of unexplained phenomena and encouraging a rigorous investigation of such events. The messages reportedly conveyed to the children during the encounter are profoundly relevant to contemporary challenges. Whether or not the encounter was of advanced origin, these messages resonate with humanity's ongoing efforts to address environmental degradation and the ethical implications of technological advancement. As of right now, the aerial school UFO encounter remains one of the most compelling and mysterious incidents in the history of UFO sightings. The consistency and sincerity of the children's accounts, coupled with the involvement of credible researchers, suggest that this was a genuine encounter with an unexplained phenomenon. The incident challenges our understanding of reality and underscores the importance of keeping an open mind in the face of the unknown. Cameron Robbins, an 18-year-old individual who recently finished high school, has been unaccounted for since the 24th of May after falling into the waters near the Bahamas while aboard a Sunset cruise ship. While on a celebratory trip to the Bahamas with friends, Mr. Robbins, who had just graduated from the University Laboratory School in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, mysteriously vanished while in the ocean. On the 24th of May, Mr. Robbins went overboard while on a sunset cruise called Blackbeard's Revenge with the group. Based on the information provided, it's alleged that Mr. Robbins willingly leaped off the boat as part of a dare. A video capturing the incident reveals Mr. Robbins swimming in near-total darkness. But since the footage was released, various theories have been put forward to explain what happened, with some suggesting that it was a shark, while others pointed out that it sounded like the audio had been tampered with. After jumping off the boat, Mr. Robbins hasn't been seen since. The search for Mr. Robbins by the US Coast Guard and Royal Bahamas Defense Force lasted for multiple days, until it was suspended on Saturday, May 27th. Cameron Robbins, an 18-year-old individual, recently completed his high school education at University Laboratory School. This institution is affiliated with Louisiana State University and is located in Baton Rouge. According to reports, it has been stated that Mr. Robbins engaged in playing baseball during his time at school. Mr. Robbins and friends were vacationing at the Atlantis Paradise Resort in the Bahamas to commemorate their graduation, as confirmed by Louisiana State University. The excursion was not officially approved by the school. University Lab School Director Kevin George stated that Mr. Robbins was a student at the school for 13 years. The University Lab School community hopes for the best outcome in this situation and said that they have personally communicated with Cameron's family and noted that at the time of his disappearance, authorities in the Bahamas were actively searching for him. The university said that in moments like these, it is vital for us to unite and provide support to one another. It is claimed that during the trip, Mr. Robbins was challenged to leap off the boat. According to Jonathan Chia, a representative from Pirates Revenge Limited, the parent company of Blackbeard's Revenge, Mr. Robbins fell into the water at around 9:40 in the evening. Chia provided the following information in a statement. The video, recorded shortly after Mr. Robbins leaped into the water, depicted the 18-year-old swimming near the boat while the passengers on the Sunset cruise shouted at him. During the video, people can be heard encouraging Mr. Robbins to clutch onto the floating device they tossed into the water specifically for him. According to Mr. Chia, the ship's crew followed all authorized safety procedures and company policies when implementing the man overboard protocol. Their ultimate goal was to maximize the chances of rescuing someone who had fallen into the water. According to a video posted on Facebook, Commodore Raymond King of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force stated that the location where Mr. Robbins reportedly jumped into is known for having a high presence of sharks, and those who've analyzed the video have said that you can see shadows swimming closely to Mr. Robbins, causing some to suggest that a shark could have been responsible, as bull and tiger sharks can be found in the Bahamas. One of the sharks that could have been responsible for Mr. Robbins' disappearance is the bull shark. Bull sharks are known for their aggressive behavior and are considered one of the most dangerous shark species when it comes to interactions with humans. Bull sharks are found in coastal waters around the world and are known for their tolerance to both saltwater and freshwater environments. One of the reasons bull sharks are considered dangerous to humans is their proximity to shorelines and popular swimming areas. Unlike many other shark species that inhabit deep offshore waters, bull sharks are commonly found in coastal regions, including bays, harbors, and river mouths. This close proximity to human-populated areas increases the likelihood of encounters between bull sharks and swimmers, surfers, and divers. Bull sharks are known for their aggressive nature and have been involved in a significant number of unprovoked attacks on humans. They have a reputation for displaying territorial behavior and are more likely to engage in aggressive encounters than other shark species. While bull sharks are responsible for a relatively small percentage of shark attacks worldwide, their ability to adapt to various habitats and their assertive behavior make them a potential threat in certain environments. The other shark known throughout the region where Mr. Robbins went missing is that of the tiger shark. Tiger sharks are known for their large size, formidable teeth, and powerful jaws, making them one of the most feared shark species in the ocean. Tiger sharks are named for their distinctive dark stripes that resemble a tiger's pattern. They are large-bodied sharks, with adult females reaching lengths of up to 14 feet and males typically measuring around 11 to 13 feet. Tiger sharks are known for their opportunistic feeding habits and are often referred to as garbage cans of the sea due to their ability to consume almost anything they come across. They have a diverse diet that includes fish, seals, turtles, dolphins, birds, and even other sharks, and it's this versatility and willingness to scavenge that makes them more likely to interact with humans in various coastal and offshore environments. Tiger sharks are responsible for a notable number of unprovoked attacks on humans. The perception of tiger sharks as potentially dangerous stems from their size, powerful jaws, and their presence in popular swimming and surfing areas. They are commonly found in warm coastal waters around the world, including the tropics and subtropics. This overlap with recreational activities increases the likelihood of encounters between humans and tiger sharks. The US Coast Guard has not verified the rumors suggesting that the waters are populated by sharks. The US Coast Guard, District 7, was notified by the Royal Bahamas Defense Force at approximately 11:30 in the evening regarding the incident of Mr. Robbins falling overboard. This information was conveyed in an official statement issued by the Coast Guard. In an official statement, Lieutenant Commander Matthew Spardo, the Coast Guard liaison officer to the Bahamas, announced that the US Coast Guard District 7 has dispatched several search and rescue resources following a request for assistance from the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Mr. Chia stated that Pirates Revenge Limited had a close collaboration with the Bahamian authorities and the US Coast Guard throughout the incident, and said that during the investigation, they were committed to ongoing cooperation with the authorities. Over the course of multiple days, both the Coast Guard and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force conducted an extensive search in the area where Mr. Robbins went missing, thoroughly scouring both the location itself and the surrounding waters. This search was conducted utilizing air crews and employing specific search patterns. After conducting an extensive search over an area of over 325 square miles, the Coast Guard, in collaboration with the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, wrapped up their search operations on May 27th. In the statement, Mr. Spado conveyed that the Royal Bahamas Defense Force had notified them about the suspension of the ongoing search efforts and their decision to not seek additional Coast Guard assistance. He also expressed his deepest condolences to the family and friends of Cameron Robbins in light of this news. During an official statement, Mr. Chia expressed that Pirates Revenge Limited thoroughly assessed and evaluated their safety measures and protocols. They are assured that the company's practices have consistently aligned with the top industry standards, ensuring the safety of their passengers. With the approval of the Bahamian authorities, Pirates Revenge Limited has commenced the operation of their cruise ship once again. In addition, Mr. Chia extended his gratitude to the crew for their unwavering professionalism and proficient execution of their responsibilities throughout the incident. There's many who've said that the video can be solved by identifying the mysterious shadows that emerge in the water, which caused him to swim away hastily. There has been online speculation triggered by the video suggesting that Robbins's demise may have been caused by a shark pursuing him. Several individuals have asserted that they can distinctly discern a shark in the footage. As mentioned, Commodore Raymond King of the Royal Bahamas Defence Force confirmed that the region where Robbins fell overboard is heavily populated with sharks. Other users pointed out that they noticed the presence of a shark on the left side of the video, while one user confidently claimed to have spotted a fin in the short video clip. The Bahamas, with its crystal-clear waters and stunning coral reefs, is a popular destination for beachgoers and water enthusiasts. However, amid the beauty and serenity of these turquoise seas, there is a lurking fear that captivates the minds of many: shark attacks. Shark attacks are a rare occurrence in the Bahamas, but they do happen. The archipelago is home to various species of sharks, and while sharks are an essential part of the marine ecosystem and play a crucial role in maintaining the balance of the underwater world, their encounters with humans can sometimes result in negative outcomes. Several factors contribute to shark attacks in the Bahamas. One of the primary factors is the interaction between humans and sharks in their natural habitat. The Bahamas offers exceptional diving and snorkeling opportunities, where tourists and locals can explore the vibrant coral reefs and swim alongside marine life. While these experiences are captivating, they can bring humans into close proximity with sharks, increasing the chances of an encounter. Another factor is the presence of bait and food sources in the water. Fishing and the improper disposal of fish waste can attract sharks to areas frequented by humans. Additionally, certain activities, such as spearfishing or fishing with bait, can unintentionally draw sharks closer to humans, creating a higher risk of an encounter. In the case of Mr. Robbins, some have suggested that the group may have been unknowingly chumming the water by accident, and they could have been doing this by dropping food into the water, which would have attracted wildlife. It is essential to note that the vast majority of shark encounters do not result in attacks. Sharks are often curious creatures and may approach humans out of curiosity or to investigate their surroundings. In most cases, these encounters are harmless and serve as a reminder of the beauty and diversity of marine life. However, there have been instances where sharks have exhibited aggressive behavior, leading to attacks. The Bahamas has implemented measures to ensure the safety of both humans and sharks in their waters. Shark conservation efforts aim to promote responsible interactions and minimize the risks associated with shark encounters. These efforts include educational programs, public awareness campaigns, and guidelines for divers and snorkelers. One such initiative is the establishment of marine protected areas and shark sanctuaries. These areas restrict fishing and other activities that could harm shark populations and their habitats. By protecting these vital areas, the Bahamian government aims to maintain the delicate balance of the marine ecosystem and ensure the long-term survival of sharks and other marine species. Trees planted on top of alleged pyramids in China. In the heart of Anlong County, nestled in the lush landscape of southwest China's Guizhou province, lies a series of pyramidal structures that have captivated archaeologists, historians, and enthusiasts alike. These mysterious formations, often compared to other ancient pyramid sites worldwide, have fueled a mix of scientific curiosity and public speculation. While their exact origins and purpose remain uncertain, the structures have recently drawn attention for an unexpected reason: reports that local officials are planting trees on and around the pyramids. This unusual activity has led some to suggest a deliberate attempt to obscure or cover up these discoveries, adding another layer of intrigue to the story of the Anlong Pyramids. The pyramidal structures of Anlong County are impressive for their sheer size and geometry. Rising from the earth in a region known for its karst landscapes, these formations resemble ancient architectural marvels found in civilizations such as Egypt and Mesoamerica. Local folklore has long associated these formations with ancient builders, fueling theories that they are man-made rather than natural geological features. Preliminary studies have indicated that the pyramids are composed of sedimentary rock and are aligned in ways that suggest intentional design. Some researchers have speculated that these formations could be remnants of an ancient and long-forgotten civilization, possibly older than China's recorded history. In recent years, observers have noticed an unusual development: the systematic planting of trees atop and around the pyramidal structures. While reforestation is a common practice in China, aimed at combating deforestation and soil erosion, the specific focus on these structures has raised eyebrows. The dense planting of trees appears to obscure the view of the formations, making it harder for researchers and the public to study or even access them. This activity has sparked a wave of speculation online and among local communities. Some believe it is a deliberate attempt by authorities to hide the pyramids from further scrutiny, possibly to prevent public fascination from spiraling into controversy or to protect sensitive information about the site. The idea of a government cover-up is not without precedent, as China has a history of tightly controlling information about archaeological finds, especially those that could challenge conventional narratives of history. For instance, the famous Terracotta Army and other ancient tombs have been strictly regulated, with only select areas opened for public or academic access. One theory suggests that the Anlong pyramids might hold evidence of a previously unknown civilization, which could potentially rewrite significant portions of Chinese or even global history. The planting of trees could be an attempt to delay excavation and research until officials can better control the narrative or assess the implications of the discoveries. The planting of trees has not gone unnoticed by locals, and several amateur researchers and tourists who have visited the area have documented the changing landscape around the pyramids. Some researchers have expressed frustration, noting that tree roots could potentially damage any underlying structures, complicating future research. Others argue that even if the pyramids are natural formations, the planting of trees could make geological studies more challenging. In both cases, the addition of vegetation has made it harder to discern the true nature of the formations. Meanwhile, some report that the site may hold evidence of involvement by previous advanced civilizations that lived in the area thousands of years ago, citing similarities between the Anlong pyramids and other ancient pyramid structures worldwide. For now, the true nature of the Anlong pyramids and the motivation behind the tree planting remain a mystery. An interesting memo reveals that JFK probed the CIA to release UFO files just 10 days before he was taken out. As the long-classified John F. Kennedy files are set to be released, a resurfaced memo allegedly written by the former president has reignited speculation regarding his interest in UFOs. Dated November 12, 1963, just 10 days before he lost his life, the memo reportedly shows Kennedy requesting the CIA director to brief him on all available UFO intelligence. Although the recipient's name is redacted, John McCone was leading the agency at the time, making him the likely recipient of the request. In the letter, Kennedy expressed concern over unidentified objects in the skies, particularly in relation to the Cold War tensions with the Soviet Union. He emphasized the importance of distinguishing unknown aerial phenomena from potential American surveillance operations. His request sought to prevent misunderstandings that could lead to catastrophic consequences if the Soviets mistook a UFO for US espionage activity. The memo also called for the establishment of a data-sharing program with NASA to ensure mission directors could properly account for unidentified objects in their defensive planning. The document first came to public attention through William Lester, a researcher who claimed to have obtained it under the Freedom of Information Act while working on his 2011 book. The memo's authenticity remains uncertain, as the CIA has neither confirmed nor denied its validity. The agency has consistently declined to comment on the matter, adding to the mystery surrounding Kennedy's interest in classified UFO files. The timing of Kennedy's alleged request and his departure has fueled speculation that his pursuit of classified UFO intelligence may have played a role in his untimely passing. Whether the memo is genuine or part of a broader ploy, it remains a compelling piece of history. Marina Popovich and the mystery of the Phobos 2 mission. The Phobos 2 mission remains one of the most mysterious and controversial space explorations in history. Launched by the Soviet Union in July 1988, it was the second Soviet spacecraft designed to study Phobos, the mysterious moon of Mars. While its primary mission was to analyze the Martian atmosphere and surface, Phobos 2 ultimately became the center of intense speculation after it captured an image of what appeared to be an unidentified object near the Martian surface. The mission's abrupt loss of communication soon after transmitting these images only deepened the mystery. On March 27, 1989, just months before Phobos 2 lost contact with Earth, the spacecraft sent back a series of astonishing images. Among them was one that sparked worldwide intrigue, a photograph of a long, cylindrical object hovering above the Martian surface. Unlike anything previously observed in space, this object had a smooth, structured appearance and cast a distinct shadow on the terrain below. The clarity of the shadow indicated that the object was not an illusion caused by light or atmospheric conditions, but rather a tangible, physical entity. This discovery raised immediate questions. The elongated, cigar-shaped structure did not resemble any known asteroid or natural Martian formation. It remained stationary in a controlled position, unlike typical space debris that tumbles and drifts unpredictably through space. Some researchers noted that this mysterious object bore striking similarities to other reported sightings of cigar-shaped UFOs, both in Earth's atmosphere and beyond. The fact that an unmanned Soviet spacecraft orbiting Mars had captured such an image only intensified the debate over its possible origins. What happened immediately after the image was taken remains one of the most puzzling aspects of the Phobos 2 mission. Shortly after transmitting the images back to mission control, the spacecraft abruptly lost contact with Earth. Up until that moment, Phobos 2 had been operating normally. The sudden and unexplained disappearance of the spacecraft fueled speculation that its encounter with the unidentified object was directly linked to its fate. Some suggested that the spacecraft had been deliberately disabled by an unknown force, possibly to prevent further transmission of images. Others proposed that the presence of the object interfered with Phobos 2's systems, causing it to fail in an inexplicable manner. The Soviet Space Agency never provided a definitive explanation for the loss of Phobos 2. While technical failures were considered, the timing of the spacecraft's disappearance, occurring just after capturing the image, left many unanswered questions. The mystery surrounding the mission gained further traction when Soviet Air Force's colonel, engineer, and test pilot, Marina Popovich, held a press conference discussing Phobos 2 and its startling findings. Marina Popovich, a highly decorated Soviet test pilot known for setting over 100 aviation world records, publicly stated that the images captured by Phobos 2 revealed something extraordinary. She insisted that the cylindrical object was not a mere anomaly, but rather evidence of an unexplained presence near Mars. Her claims added weight to the growing belief that Phobos 2 had encountered something beyond human understanding. Beyond the Phobos 2 incident, Popovich also made other bold statements regarding UFO encounters. She claimed that both Soviet military and civilian pilots had confirmed at least 3,000 UFO sightings. Additionally, she asserted that the Soviet Air Forces and the KGB had recovered fragments of 5 crashed UFOs. Her testimony suggested that the Soviet government had long been aware of extraterrestrial phenomena, but had chosen to keep such knowledge classified. Popovich's revelations reinforced the idea that the Phobos 2 mission was more than just a failed space exploration effort. Her insistence that the object captured in the images was of great significance added credibility to the notion that mysterious activity was being observed and possibly monitored in space. To this day, the Phobos 2 mission remains a mystery. The mystery of the Winnemucca petroglyphs. The Winnemucca petroglyphs, located at the Winnemucca Lake site in Nevada, are the oldest known petroglyphs in North America, dating back at least 10,500 years and possibly as far as 14,800 years. These ancient carvings, etched into large limestone boulders, stand as silent witnesses to a lost time, offering a glimpse into the lives and beliefs of the early inhabitants of the region. Their true purpose and meaning, however, remain a mystery, fueling speculation and intrigue among archaeologists and historians. Unlike many other petroglyph sites that depict images of people, animals, or handprints, the Winnemucca petroglyphs are distinct in their abstract nature. The carvings consist of deeply grooved lines, dots, and intricate chain-like patterns which form complex designs. These unusual markings suggest that the creators of the petroglyphs had a symbolic or ritualistic intent, possibly communicating knowledge, spiritual beliefs, or astronomical observations. However, Since no written records exist from this time period, the true significance of these carvings is still unknown. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Winnemucca petroglyphs is their incredible age. Dating back to the end of the last ice age, these carvings predate some of the most well-known ancient civilizations. Their presence raises intriguing questions about the people who created them, who they were, how they lived, and what they hoped to convey through their artistry. The petroglyphs also provide evidence that early human populations in North America were more sophisticated and culturally developed than previously thought. Despite decades of study, the Winnemucca petroglyphs continue to remain shrouded in mystery. Their meaning, purpose, and the identity of their creators remain speculative, but they serve as a powerful reminder of the deep and ancient history of the Americas, preserved in stone for thousands of years. Boriska, a child prodigy, was born in 1996 and is also known as Little Boris. According to his mother, who is a doctor, she recognized her son's exceptional nature when he was able to hold his head up without any assistance, a mere 2 weeks after his birth. According to her, he commenced speaking a few months after his birth and was capable of reading, drawing, and painting by the age of 18 months. When Boriska, at the young age of 2, attended kindergarten, his teachers were immediately impressed by his exceptional writing and language abilities and his impressive memory skills. This left a significant impression on his teachers, who could hardly believe the young child's remarkable abilities. The young boy has insisted on multiple occasions that he used to be a pilot from Mars and had traveled to Earth. Boriska's parents maintain that they didn't educate their son about space as a youngster, yet he would frequently converse about Mars, planetary structures, and extraterrestrial societies. According to reports, his infatuation with space became his primary interest, and soon after, he began proclaiming to have been born on the planet Mars. According to researchers, he was an introverted young man who exhibited intelligence above the norm. He asserts that there are still many unexplored mysteries on this planet, citing the Great Pyramid of Giza as an example of a structure that conceals valuable insights. Boriska claims that once the Sphinx is opened, using an unknown mechanism located behind its ear, human life will be transformed. The exact details of this mechanism are unclear to Boriska. Boriska elaborates that the incident on Mars was a result of a nuclear conflict among the inhabitants of the planet. According to him, a small number of people managed to survive and subsequently constructed shelters for protection while simultaneously developing new weaponry. According to the boy, Martians inhale carbon dioxide, and in case they visit Earth, they would require pipes filled with this gas to exhale. Boriska, despite experiencing a significant nuclear disaster in the distant past, Mars is said to harbor a community of extraterrestrial beings. He asserts that there are still many unexplored mysteries on this planet, citing the Great Pyramid of Giza as an example of a structure that conceals valuable insights. Boriska claims that once the Sphinx is opened, using an unknown mechanism located behind its ear, human life will be transformed. The exact details of this mechanism are unclear to Boriska. Oddly enough, many have pointed out that there is a mysterious hole that was mysteriously sealed up in the Sphinx's head. The Great Sphinx of Giza, commonly known as the Sphinx, is a grand limescale structure in the Golden Giza Desert of Egypt. The statue is of a reclining sphinx, a mythical creature that combines the head of a human with the body of a lion. The Sphinx is seen as a dangerous, merciless creature in Greek mythology. In Egyptian mythology, however, the Sphinx is a slightly less cruel creature. Unlike the Greek Sphinx, the Egyptian one is firstly male, and secondly is described as more benevolent than the Greek Sphinx. However, they are both thought to be extremely strong and guarded the entrance to temples in ancient times. Today, the Sphinx is a tourist attraction more than anything. Such an incredible architectural feat naturally draws a lot of attention, and historians and researchers have spent years delving into the history of the Sphinx. Naturally, this leaves various unanswered questions. The first modern archaeological dig of the Sphinx was undertaken in 1817, but it was some time before that it had been visited and captured in painting. Around 1798, French painter Vivant Denon painted a picture of the Sphinx, but when it was finished, critics noticed something a little strange. Denon had painted a man being pulled out of the head of the Sphinx. Two figures were helping a third out of the cavernous head of the statue, which had been painted side on. Now, you may wonder whether this was simply a matter of imagination. Perhaps Denon had wanted to add something a little different to the painting. But of course, nobody knew for sure, as it was the 18th century, and the beauty of both aviation and drone imagery had not quite been invented yet. However, in the 1920s, aerial photography had become possible, and lo and behold, what appeared on the Sphinx's head. A hole, big enough for a man to fit through. Naturally, this made Denon's painting all the more interesting. It appeared he'd actually seen people climbing out of the Sphinx, which begged the question, who was in the Sphinx, and what were they doing? Not a lot is known about the history of the Sphinx, or at least there isn't a lot of definitive knowledge, but researchers have noticed that the head of the Sphinx is made from different materials to the rest of the statue. The head appears to be made out of a man-made substance rather than limestone, hence the darkness of the stone of the head compared to the body. Furthermore, the Sphinx's head has hardly eroded and appears smoother than its body. This again points to the idea that the head was somehow interfered with, maybe long before any Western peoples even knew of its existence. But this still doesn't answer the question of why those men were in the head of the Sphinx. One thing that is known is that restoration work has been done on the Great Sphinx. Something to note, though, is that at the time, and as mentioned by Tour Egypt, systematic research on the water table, pollution, and on the properties of the stone and mortar were undertaken. They note, though, that for some unknown reason, these discoveries were not applied when the restoration work was being carried out. It's been theorized that the hole in the head of a sphinx actually led to an ancient underground chamber, which then joined up to more underground chambers beneath the Great Pyramids. This secret city, as it was dubbed by the mainstream media, was allegedly found in March of 1935. Newspapers even covered the topic, and it was speculated that this discovery would have gone down in history as being one of the greatest. However, not one Egyptologist or researcher commented on the findings. It was almost as if every researcher forgot about these initial discoveries. There was complete silence from those studying and working alongside these structures. Back in 1987, a Japanese research team from Tokyo's Waseda University began an extensive underground survey of the regions surrounding the Great Sphinx statue, utilizing groundbreaking technology at the time known as the electromagnetic sounding survey radar, in an attempt to better image the sunken regions of the Sphinx statue. Under the direction of head researcher Sakuji Yoshimura, the team got some of the most accurate 3D rendered images of the statue ever seen, with a strange revelation that no one had seen coming. For some unknown reason, the Japanese survey team discovered an extensive system of cavities and tunnels inside and underneath the Great Sphinx monolith that were believed to have been previously undiscovered. According to the team, south of the Sphinx was a hollow tunnel believed to have been 2.5 meters wide and 3 meters tall, connecting two chambers, a small and large chamber that appears to connect to additional tunnels that stretched north, south, and southeast of the Sphinx's direction. Portions of shafts were found in unconnected areas beneath the Sphinx, with additional cavities found inside the structure of the Sphinx and beside the body of the Sphinx, unconnected to the tunnels beneath the monolith. None of these findings have been pursued after the survey, with many denying the existence of the tunnels and shafts, despite the mountains of clear imaging evidence gathered under the direction of lead researchers. The frustrating thing about this is that there's no conclusion to the mysterious hole seen in the Sphinx's head. We know it was there as we have photographs and paintings, but as of right, only theories can be put forward for why it was sealed up. The ancient Egyptians have filled history with spectacular cultural offerings, from the pharaohs to the pyramids to the Great Sphinx itself. When we as a race discover something that old, it's only natural to begin to wonder whether there is a little more to these beautiful pieces of history than the accepted truths. Who knows what really lurks in the mysterious ancient catacombs beneath the Sphinx? Perhaps one day we might find out. Until that time, though, we can only put forward our theories as to why these chambers have been kept a secret from the public. In the annals of ancient history, few figures loom as large as Queen Nefertiti, the great royal wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten and one of ancient Egypt's most iconic and mysterious queens. Renowned for her beauty, power, and influence, Nefertiti's reign during the 14th century BCE marked a transformative period in Egyptian history, characterized by religious revolution, cultural upheaval, and artistic innovation. Yet, despite her prominence in the historical record, the mysterious disappearance of Queen Nefertiti remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the ancient world. Nefertiti's rise to power began in the early years of her husband's reign, when Pharaoh Akhenaten ascended to the throne and embarked on a radical religious reform known as the Amarna period. Central to this reform was the worship of the sun disk Aten as the supreme deity, and the establishment of a new capital city at Amarna dedicated to the cult of Aten. As Akhenaten's chief consort and co-regent, Nefertiti played a pivotal role in promoting the worship of Aten and disseminating the ideology of the Amarna revolution throughout Egypt. During her tenure as queen, Nefertiti wielded unprecedented influence and authority, serving as a powerful political and religious figure alongside her husband. Her iconic depiction in ancient Egyptian art, characterized by her elegant profile, elongated neck, and distinctive crown, attests to her status as a paragon of beauty and grace, revered by both her contemporaries and future generations. Yet, despite her prominence and influence, Nefertiti's fate remains shrouded in mystery, with conflicting theories and conjectures about her ultimate destiny. The most widely accepted theory posits that Nefertiti died during the reign of her husband and was subsequently buried in a royal tomb in the Valley of the Kings. However, no conclusive evidence of her burial has ever been found, leaving her final resting place a tantalizing mystery for archaeologists and historians. Another theory suggests that Nefertiti may have outlived her husband and ruled Egypt as a pharaoh in her own right under the name Nefer-Neferuaten. This theory is supported by evidence of a female ruler named Nefer-Neferuaten who succeeded Akhenaten and continued his religious reforms, albeit with a more moderate approach. However, the identity of Nefer-Neferuaten remains uncertain, and it is unclear whether she was indeed Nefertiti or another member of the royal family. Intriguingly, recent archaeological discoveries have reignited speculation about Nefertiti's fate, with tantalizing clues emerging from the sands of Egypt that suggest she may have been buried in a hidden chamber within the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. In 2015, a team of archaeologists led by British Egyptologist Nicholas Reeves proposed the existence of a secret chamber behind the walls of Tutankhamun's tomb, which they believed could contain the long-lost burial of Queen Nefertiti. Although subsequent investigations failed to conclusively confirm the presence of a hidden chamber within Tutankhamun's tomb, the tantalizing possibility of uncovering Nefertiti's final resting place has captured the imagination of scholars and enthusiasts alike. If Nefertiti's tomb were to be discovered, it would not only shed light on her mysterious disappearance, but also provide invaluable insights into the religious and political landscape of ancient Egypt during the Amarna period. Yet, even as the search for Nefertiti's tomb continues, her legacy endures as a symbol of female power and influence in ancient Egypt. Whether as a beautiful queen, a formidable ruler, or a strange figure lost to the sands of time, Nefertiti remains an icon of antiquity whose mystique continues to fascinate and inspire generations of admirers. As of right now, the mysterious disappearance of Queen Nefertiti remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of ancient Egypt, shrouded in speculation, intrigue, and conjecture. From her influential role in the Amarna period to her mysterious fate after the death of her husband, Nefertiti's legacy endures as a testament to the enduring allure of the ancient world and the mysteries that lie buried beneath its sands. As archaeologists continue to uncover new evidence and insights into the life and times of Queen Nefertiti, her story will continue to captivate and inspire generations to come. North Korea is known for its secretive and isolated nature, which has led to numerous unsolved mysteries and unanswered questions over the years. While the secretive regime tightly controls information, some mysteries have managed to capture international attention. The mystery of the North Korean ghost ships. In an extensive inquiry, Japanese authorities are probing a series of mysterious vessels discovered adrift along the country's shores, each carrying individuals who had passed away on board. The investigation is focused on unraveling the mysteries surrounding these unsettling occurrences. As of now, a total of 11 wooden boats have been discovered, with some of them showing significant signs of damage. Authorities are currently conducting a thorough investigation into the circumstances surrounding the appearance of the boats, with a particular focus on tracing their origin. In a distressing revelation, A Coast Guard spokesperson disclosed that several boats have been discovered containing as many as 20 individuals on board. This chilling discovery sheds light on the harrowing reality faced by individuals attempting perilous sea crossings. In recent years, multiple vessels have been discovered in the waters of the Sea of Japan, also referred to as the East Sea in North and South Korea. These findings occurred both this month and the preceding one, raising intriguing questions about the origins and intentions of the boats. Numerous vessels have been towed to ports in Japan. However, the process of identifying the individuals on board remains ongoing. The most recent boat that has been located was brought to land at Fukui port, revealing the presence of 3 sets of remains on board. The Maritime Patrol Unit of the Coastal Defense Force identified the vessel approximately 100 kilometers, equivalent to 62 miles away from the shore. The Tokyo Broadcasting System made a statement indicating that the discovered remains were in an advanced state of decomposition. Japan's national broadcaster, NHK, recently disclosed that a fragment of fabric suspected to originate from a North Korean flag was discovered within a vessel. Additionally, inscriptions indicating the Korean People's Army were noted on the exterior of the same vessel. The presence of these peculiar items has sparked intrigue and speculation among experts and officials, prompting a deeper investigation into the origins and implications of such findings. Upon thorough examination, specialists probing the incident have put forth the notion that these vessels and remains might be linked to fishermen from North Korea. In the wake of multiple poor agricultural seasons, the isolated nation is actively engaged in efforts to enhance the quantity of fish caught by its fishermen. Following a series of unfavorable harvests, the nation has embarked on initiatives to boost productivity. The navigational instruments used for fishing are intricate to operate and are notably devoid of essential tools like radars. According to insights shared by a maritime specialist with NHK, these vessels might have been adrift for an extended period, possibly spanning several months, with their locations remaining unknown to anyone. In more extensive discussions, individuals have suggested that the boats might represent individuals striving to flee from the authoritarian regime of the communist state. North Korean vessels frequently appear in the coastal communities of Japan, with an average of around 12 ships from North Korea washing ashore annually along the beaches and harbors. The majority of these ships arrive empty, lacking any signs of life, or containing remnants of wood fuel. On some occasions, these vessels are discovered to house crews of deceased individuals, intensifying concerns about the mysteries associated with North Korea, known for its strict military presence and secretive activities. The presence of these vessels evokes a sense of unease and raises questions about the unknown events unfolding within the borders of North Korea. These occurrences serve as a poignant reminder of the strange and potentially perilous nature of the region, leaving observers pondering the stories and fates of those who embarked on these eerie journeys. The unsettling discoveries on these vessels serve as a stark testament to the complex and shadowy realm that is North Korea, prompting speculation and instilling a sense of foreboding in those who bear witness to these eerie maritime encounters. In the last year alone, a staggering 14 mysterious ghost ships have washed ashore on Japanese coasts, carrying a grim tally of over 30 deceased individuals. These unsettling occurrences continue to baffle Japanese authorities, leaving them grappling with the perplexing question of why these vessels are drifting to their shores, as well as seeking to unravel the mysteries surrounding the unfortunate fate of those on board. The relentless arrival of these ghost ships provokes a sense of unease and curiosity among the investigators, who remain puzzled by the lack of concrete explanations for these haunting phenomena. The prevailing consensus suggests that the individuals found on these boats are likely defectors, individuals who attempted to flee the rule of North Korea only to meet their tragic demise and be disposed of at sea. However, a noted Japanese specialist in North Korean affairs, Satoru Miyamoto, presents a contrasting viewpoint. Miyamoto posits that these deceased individuals could be fishermen, potentially hailing from the commercial sector of North Korea. This perspective challenges the widely accepted belief regarding the origins of these mysterious boats and the fate of those on board. Miyamoto's assertion introduces a compelling alternative narrative, questioning the prevalent assumption of defection-related tragedies. Miyamoto holds the belief that the fishermen in question lack any background in military or naval practices, indicating a probable scenario of them becoming disoriented at sea, leading to a tragic fate amidst the harsh marine environment. The vast expanse of the ocean is prone to severe and unpredictable weather conditions, including the menacing threat of typhoons. The potential perils faced by these individuals are harsh, spanning from starvation and hypothermia to the risk of accidental falls overboard. Kim Jong-un's disappearance. In the realm of international politics, few figures loom as large as North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Since assuming power following the passing of his father, Kim Jong-il, in 2011, Kim Jong-un has commanded attention with his authoritarian rule, nuclear ambitions, and unpredictable behavior. Yet, despite his prominence on the world stage, Kim Jong-un's mysterious disappearances from the public eye on multiple occasions have sparked speculation about his health and the stability of his regime. The first notable instance of Kim Jong-un's disappearance occurred in 2014, when he vanished from public view for over 6 weeks, leading to rampant speculation about his health and the stability of the North Korean regime. During his absence, rumors swirled about potential health issues, ranging from a bout of gout to a more serious medical condition, such as a heart attack or stroke. The amount of information from North Korean state media only served to fuel speculation, leading to widespread rumors and conjecture about Kim Jong-un's whereabouts and well-being. In the absence of concrete information, analysts and observers scrutinized every available piece of evidence for clues about Kim Jong-un's health and the implications for the North Korean regime. Satellite imagery of Kim Jong-un's residence and other key locations in Pyongyang was analyzed for signs of unusual activity or increased security measures, while defectors and sources within North Korea were interrogated for any insights they could provide. Yet, despite these efforts, the true nature of Kim Jong-un's disappearance remained shrouded in mystery, leaving observers to speculate about the potential implications for North Korea's future. Kim Jong-un's disappearance from the public eye resurfaced in 2020 when he vanished once again amid rumors of failing health. Speculation reached fever pitch when Kim Jong-un missed the celebration of his grandfather's birthday on April 15th, a significant event in the North Korean calendar that is typically marked by lavish festivities and displays of loyalty to the ruling Kim dynasty. As days turned into weeks without any sign of Kim Jong-un, speculation about his health and the stability of the North Korean regime reached a fever pitch, with rumors swirling about potential succession plans and power struggles within the ruling elite. The uncertainty surrounding Kim Jong-un's disappearance underscored the opaque and secretive nature of the North Korean regime, where information is tightly controlled and dissent is ruthlessly suppressed. In the absence of reliable information from official channels, rumors and speculation run rampant, leading to a climate of uncertainty and anxiety both within North Korea and among the international community. The reappearance of Kim Jong-un weeks later, seemingly healthy and in control, did little to quell speculation about his health or the stability of his regime. While North Korean state media sought to portray him as a strong and capable leader, questions lingered about the true nature of his absence and the extent of his power within the regime. Some analysts speculated that Kim Jong-un's disappearance may have been a deliberate ploy to gauge loyalty and weed out potential rivals, while others suggested that it may have been a genuine health scare that underscored the fragility of his regime. The underground tunnels of North Korea. In the shadowy depths beneath the surface of North Korea lies a labyrinthine network of tunnels that serves as a testament to the regime's ingenuity, paranoia, and determination to safeguard its sovereignty at all costs. These underground passages, spanning hundreds of kilometers and burrowing deep into the earth, are a testament to the regime's commitment to secrecy and self-preservation, offering a glimpse into the hidden world of one of the world's most secretive and authoritarian states. The origins of North Korea's underground tunnels can be traced back to the Korean War, when the regime of Kim Il-sung embarked on an ambitious program to construct a network of secret passages beneath the demilitarized zone that separates North and South Korea. These tunnels, known as the Third Infiltration Tunnel and the Second Infiltration Tunnel, were designed to facilitate covert incursions into South Korea and serve as a means of surprise attack in the event of hostilities between the two Koreas. The Third Infiltration Tunnel, discovered by South Korean forces in 1978, is perhaps the most well-known of North Korea's underground passages. Measuring over 1.6 kilometers in length and located just 44 kilometers from Seoul, the tunnel was designed to accommodate the rapid movement of troops and equipment and enable surprise attacks on South Korean territory. Despite North Korea's claims that the tunnel was intended for coal mining, evidence suggests otherwise, with its dimensions and construction consistent with military use. The discovery of the third infiltration tunnel sparked alarm and outrage in South Korea, leading to increased tensions and a heightened sense of vigilance along the DMZ. In response, South Korean forces embarked on a program of tunnel detection and countermeasures, employing advanced technology and surveillance techniques to uncover and neutralize any further incursions by North Korean forces. Despite these efforts, North Korea's underground tunneling program continued unabated, with subsequent discoveries revealing the existence of additional tunnels beneath the DMZ. The second infiltration tunnel, discovered in 1975, and the fourth infiltration tunnel, discovered in 1990, are believed to be part of a larger network of underground passages designed to facilitate covert operations and surprise attacks on South Korean territory. In addition to their military significance, North Korea's underground tunnels also serve as a means of protecting the regime's leadership and preserving its ability to govern in the event of a conflict or uprising. Deep beneath the surface of Pyongyang, the capital city of North Korea, lies a sprawling complex of underground bunkers and command centers that are designed to withstand even the most devastating of military attacks. These underground facilities, known as the Underground Palace or the Metro of Pyongyang, are believed to house key government officials, military commanders, and strategic assets, ensuring the regime's survival in the event of a nuclear strike or conventional invasion. Equipped with state-of-the-art communications equipment, food and water supplies, and medical facilities, these underground bunkers are a testament to the regime's determination to maintain control and resist external threats at all costs. Yet, despite the regime's efforts to conceal the existence of its underground tunnels and bunkers, evidence of their existence has gradually come to light through defector testimonies, satellite imagery, and the occasional discovery by South Korean forces. While the true extent of North Korea's underground network remains shrouded in secrecy, it is clear that these tunnels play a critical role in the regime's military strategy and its ability to withstand external pressure. In recent years, North Korea's underground tunnels have garnered renewed attention amid escalating tensions on the Korean peninsula and the regime's ongoing development of nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. As the threat of conflict looms ever larger, the existence of these tunnels serves as a sobering reminder of the regime's willingness to resort to extreme measures to ensure its survival and maintain its grip on power. While some of these tunnels have been discovered and made public, the full extent of North Korea's tunneling activities remains a mystery. Mysterious unmanned plane spotted in North Korea. In the latest commercial satellite images analyzed by NK-Pro, a significant discovery emerged. A sizable, advanced North Korean military drone made its debut. This milestone indicates an ongoing exploration of unmanned aerial vehicle technology within the nation, aligning closely with the strategic objectives set by leader Kim Jong-un. The unveiling of this new drone serves as a testament to North Korea's continuous efforts to advance its UAV capabilities and strengthen its military arsenal. The recently unveiled aircraft seems to boast a wingspan of approximately 115 feet, equal to 35 meters, marking a significant increase in size compared to a model with a wingspan of roughly 65 feet or 20 meters that was observed on the runway of the Pangyon Air Base by NK-Pro on June 3rd. This event marked the first instance where the Democratic People's Republic of Korea has been recorded testing a contemporary drone. The most recent satellite imagery from Planet Labs reveals the presence of an aircraft sporting slender wings that bear a striking resemblance to established foreign drone models. This aircraft was spotted in close proximity to the location where a smaller aircraft was observed just last week, situated at the eastern terminus of the runway. In the realm of aerial technology, there exists a foreign counterpart that bears a striking resemblance, when viewed from above, to the RQ-4A Global Hawk, an aircraft conceptualized by the United States during the late 1990s. This foreign model mirrors the dimensions of the Global Hawk in terms of wingspan. In addition to the presence of the aircraft, various vehicles were observed in the vicinity of the runway. According to an expert interviewed by NK Pro recently, the vehicles or items spotted in similar locations on June 3rd might have been equipped with specialized tools like antennas essential for the testing of drone flights. This suggests the possibility of conducting drone flight experiments in the area. The specialized equipment carried by these vehicles could play a crucial role in facilitating and monitoring the drone testing processes. The detailed imagery provided by Planet Labs did not indicate any activities related to testing at the airbase. However, during this period, there was observed ongoing activity focusing on repainting the runway stripes, suggesting maintenance and improvement work being conducted at the airbase. North Korean official media outlets have remained silent on advancements in the country's drone technology since January 2021, following Kim Jong-un's call for the production of unmanned striking equipment and reconnaissance drones capable of covering a distance of 310 miles or 500 kilometers by the conclusion of 2025. This directive from the North Korean leader emphasized the urgency of enhancing their unmanned aerial capabilities within a specific time frame to meet strategic objectives. The purpose behind the presence of the two aircraft observed at Pangyon Air Base this month is ambiguous as to whether they are designated for combat operations or reconnaissance missions. The developmental phase of every aircraft remains undisclosed, adding a layer of mystery to the situation. It is anticipated that state media will refrain from revealing specific information or arranging an inspection by Kim Jong-un until the aircraft projects have significantly progressed. This secretive approach suggests a deliberate strategy to maintain confidentiality and keep crucial details under wraps until a later stage. The mysterious demise of Otto Warmbier. The untimely demise of Otto Warmbier on Monday, June 19th, sheds light on the intricacies of the North Korean regime. His situation stands out due to its rarity, as North Korea typically does not subject its foreign detainees to physical abuse resulting in long-lasting harm. The details surrounding the 22-year-old student's ordeal during his roughly 18 months of confinement in North Korea, which commenced in January of the previous year, remain largely elusive. Following his repatriation to the United States mere days before his passing, medical professionals attending to Warmbier highlighted a significant loss of brain tissue that occurred during his time in North Korea. They noted from MRI scans that he likely sustained a brain injury soon after receiving a harsh 15-year sentence of hard labor in March 2016. Despite thorough examinations, there were no compelling indications of physical assault, coercion, or similar mistreatment. North Korean medical personnel attributed his condition to botulism and the consumption of a sleeping aid that rendered him unresponsive, whereas American doctors found no substantiating evidence of botulism in their assessments. During his ordeal in North Korean captivity, the circumstances surrounding Warmbier's treatment remain shrouded in mystery. However, it is sadly not uncommon for individuals to endure inhumane conditions under the North Korean regime. The extended duration of Warmbier's captivity, despite his deteriorating health, highlights a troubling disregard for basic human rights when political agendas take precedence. This situation epitomizes the harsh reality faced by individuals detained in North Korea, where humanitarian principles often take a back seat to political expediency. The lack of transparency regarding Warmbier's treatment underscores the systematic opacity and cruelty prevalent within the North Korean detention system. This incident serves as a stark reminder of the grave human rights abuses that persist within the confines of North Korean detention facilities, where individuals like Warmbier are left vulnerable to the whims of a regime. In the midst of the international jests aimed at the leader and personality cult of North Korea, it is crucial not to overlook the grim reality that the country is still deeply entrenched in the grip of a severe police state. Within the confines of North Korea, countless individuals face atrocities comparable to, or in some instances, surpassing the ordeal endured by Warmbier. The labor camps in North Korea stand as stark reminders of the ruthless regime, where individuals find themselves incarcerated for actions that would not even be considered criminal in most Western legal systems. Instead, the North Korean government deems these acts as politically subversive, such as the mere act of introducing foreign cultural influences. It is unimaginable in any other context than that of an oppressively totalitarian regime for a young man like Warmbier to receive a 15-year sentence of grueling labor for attempting to pilfer a propaganda banner. The North Korean authorities alleged that he had colluded with a church in his homeland to orchestrate the overthrow of the state system, yet they failed to provide substantial evidence to support their claims. This incident exemplifies the extreme measures and unjust practices that prevail in North Korea, shedding light on the deep-rooted repression and lack of basic freedoms endured by its populace. In trying to comprehend the North Korean response to the situation, the strategic rationale behind their actions appears perplexing. Throughout history, North Korea has exhibited a pattern of releasing detained Americans subsequent to visits by significant American dignitaries. An illustrative instance of this occurred in August 2009, when American journalists Una Lee and Laura Ling regained their freedom from North Korean captivity. This liberation transpired subsequent to a visit to Pyongyang by former President Bill Clinton, who orchestrated their repatriation after their capture in March of the same year. Another noteworthy incident transpired in 2014, when the then Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, journeyed to Pyongyang with the objective of facilitating the return of imprisoned Americans Kenneth Bae and Todd Miller. Remarkably, during his interactions, Clapper noted the discontent of his North Korean counterparts upon realizing that his visit was not aimed at securing any diplomatic advantages for Pyongyang. This sequence of events underscores the intricate and enigmatic dynamics involved in North Korea's handling of such cases. North Korea's treatment of Otto Warmbier starkly contrasts with its usual behavior, as it seemingly served no clear purpose for the regime. Contrary to North Korea's claims of releasing him on humanitarian grounds, the prevailing belief now is that the regime's intention was merely to prevent his death within their borders. The repercussions of this incident appear to offer little benefit to North Korea, while the evident losses are substantial. The tourism sector, which Kim Jong-un aimed to develop, is likely to suffer, particularly in terms of American visitors. Annually, around 5,000 Westerners travel to North Korea, with approximately 1,000 of them originating from the United States. Following the imprisonment of 2 US journalists in 2009, a total of 14 Americans have been detained in North Korea, leaving 3 currently incarcerated. Amid these events, Young Pioneer Tours, the agency responsible for Warmbier's trip, has already declared that they will no longer include American tourists in their future expeditions. The US government may potentially impose measures to dissuade or prohibit travel to North Korea, similar to previous restrictions on visiting Cuba, which could soon be reinstated. Notably, every tourist spending money in North Korea indirectly supports the regime's operations, including its nuclear and missile programs, given that all tour operators within North Korea are affiliated with the state. While some suggest that tourism could foster cultural exchange and mutual respect, it is interesting to observe that the US government expressed its intent in 1998 to facilitate group travel and exchanges with North Korea, reflecting support for policies of reconciliation with South Korea. Tourism and interactions with North Korea remain a topic shrouded in uncertainty when it comes to their beneficial outcomes. Over a significant period, discussions have occurred intermittently between representatives from North Korea and the United States, involving both current and former governmental figures in unofficial capacities. Recent dialogues have centered on critical issues such as the situation of American prisoners in North Korea, all while North Korea persists in its advancements in nuclear and missile tests, demonstrating a heightened level of technical sophistication. The advocates within the United States, supporting diplomatic discussions with North Korea, now find themselves navigating an even more challenging landscape following the tragic passing of Warmbier. The outlook for official US engagement with North Korea appears increasingly grim, particularly as the current administration would be reluctant to extend any concessions to a regime whose actions resulted in the death of one of its citizens. In the intricate dynamics of the North Korean power structure, it is plausible that certain factions within the regime advocated for the release of Otto Warmbier long before his health reached a critical state, while more rigid elements resisted until his condition became irreversible. It is widely acknowledged that the North Korean healthcare system falls significantly short of meeting Western standards. However, delving into the rationale behind North Korea's decisions at that juncture remains purely conjectural. It is only through speculation that we can attempt to comprehend the underlying factors. It is conceivable that the true motives and deliberations that culminated in the tragic demise of Warmbier will only come to light if someday the archives of the North Korean secret police are unveiled. This potential revelation holds the promise of shedding light on the circumstances and decisions that ultimately led to the fateful outcome. These unsolved mysteries from North Korea reflect the isolated and secretive nature of the regime, which has made it challenging for outsiders to obtain concrete information or answers. As long as North Korea remains isolated and tightly controls information, these mysteries are likely to persist, leaving the world with many unanswered questions about the regime's actions and intentions. Antarctica stands out as a vastly uncharted region, inhabited by only a handful of individuals. However, amidst its desolate landscapes, numerous captivating revelations have come to light in recent times. The latest findings circulating on social media encompass perplexing discoveries that defy easy explanation. Enthusiastic amateur investigators claim that numerous locations across Antarctica are undergoing a process of gradual melting, uncovering peculiar structures hidden beneath the ice. While it is emphasized by scientific experts that Antarctica holds no extraordinary secrets, and the majority of these revelations can be rationalized through natural occurrences, this has not deterred some individuals from dedicating extensive hours scrutinizing archival images of Antarctica and utilizing tools like Google Earth to identify mysterious, seemingly out-of-place formations. This phenomenon has sparked curiosity and intrigue within the online community, prompting widespread discussions and speculations about the possible origins and implications of these unearthed anomalies. The unfolding narrative surrounding these mysterious findings serves as a testament to the enduring fascination with the mysterious and unexplored regions of our planet, inviting further exploration and analysis to unravel the secrets hidden beneath the icy surface of Antarctica. While scouring the virtual landscape of Google Earth, an intrepid individual noticed something anomalous, a structure emerging from the ice, reminiscent of a bygone era. What began as a casual browsing session soon transformed into a journey of exploration and revelation as the mysterious object revealed itself to the individual, and many who saw the structure suggested that it could be an abandoned base that once belonged to the Germans. The story begins with an ordinary individual, armed with nothing more than a computer and an insatiable curiosity, navigating the virtual terrain of Google Earth in search of hidden treasures. As they panned and zoomed across the desolate expanses of Antarctica, their attention was drawn to a peculiar structure protruding from the ice, an angular, man-made edifice stark against the pristine whiteness of the surrounding landscape. Intrigued by this unexpected find, they delved deeper, scouring satellite imagery for clues to its origin and purpose. What they uncovered was nothing short of astonishing, a forgotten relic of a bygone era, preserved in the icy depths of Antarctica. The individual said that upon closer examination, it revealed the telltale signs of human habitation, ruins of buildings, and remnants of what appeared to be old structures scattered across the frozen landscape. The discovery sent ripples of excitement through the world of history and archaeology as amateur enthusiasts clamored to unravel the mysteries of this forgotten outpost. The implications of the discovery are profound, raising questions about the extent of German influence in Antarctica and the potential ramifications for our understanding of the region's history. This revelation sparked a flurry of reactions among viewers of the accompanying photographs. While some identified the object as one massive base, others theorized it resembled the remnants of an ancient city. Speculation arose that this unearthing could potentially serve as evidence of early human presence in the region, engaged in the construction of imposing edifices. One individual pondered that if presented with the image devoid of any context, observers might liken it to a structure akin to a building or the wreckage of a seafaring vessel. Oftentimes, when claims are made regarding such discoveries in Antarctica, individuals tend to dismiss them automatically. The essence of science lies in continuous learning and the correction of our understanding of the Earth's history. During that period, Germany's aspirations transcended the confines of European battlegrounds, encompassing broader ambitions and strategies that reached beyond the continent's borders. In an effort to gain strategic leverage and assert supremacy in the aftermath of the war, German scientists and military officials contemplated a bold plan to set up strongholds in Antarctica. This ambitious proposal, aimed to solidify their position on the global stage and expand their influence beyond conventional territories. Germany's fascination with Antarctica is fueled by a compelling combination of strategic, scientific, and ideological motivations. Strategically, the country sees Antarctica as a pivotal location with significant implications for its global interests. The immense and frozen landscape of the Antarctic continent harbored vast, untapped resources and strategic military advantages, presenting an alluring opportunity for a government keen on extending its territorial control and military dominance. The uninhabited icy terrain of Antarctica offered lucrative prospects for exploration and exploitation, which could significantly contribute to the economic and military strength of a nation with expansionist ambitions. Antarctica's extreme remoteness not only held a strong appeal due to its secretive and isolated nature, but also provided a secure sanctuary for covert activities to be carried out discreetly, shielded from the scrutiny of Allied intelligence agencies. In the period preceding World War II, Germany's fascination with Antarctica experienced a gradual surge, driven by a series of exploratory missions and dedicated scientific investigations. The German Antarctic expedition, under the leadership of Captain Alfred Richer in the span of 1938 to 1939, remains a prominent exploration venture in history, particularly notable for its extensive mapping of vast Antarctic coastal regions and the subsequent territorial claims made on behalf of Germany. This expedition, renowned for its significance, not only contributed to the scientific understanding of the region, but also fueled the aspirations and ambitions of Germany during that era, bolstered by the expedition's discoveries and insights into the abundant natural resources and potential strategic advantages present in the Antarctic. The Antarctic expedition, conducted by the Germans aboard the vessel Schwabenland, which took place from 17th of December 1938 to 12th of April 1939, stands as a relatively obscure voyage in Antarctic exploration history. This expedition, occurring just before the onset of World War II, ventured into the western region, recognized today as Dronning Maudland. The Germans embarked on this voyage during a significant period in history, traversing the icy expanses of the Antarctic continent. The exploration was initiated due to apprehensions within the German governmental circles regarding the sustainability and viability of the German whaling sector. In the region of Dronning Maudland, where the Norwegian whaling fleets first explored, a significant discovery was made. While the land had not yet been formally acknowledged with its current name, unofficial claims on its behalf had already been put forward by Norway, even though there was no official royal proclamation confirming these assertions. In light of the British imposition of heavy fees and restrictions on whaling operations in the South Atlantic, the German government was eager to avoid a similar predicament. Consequently, a covert mission was strategized with the intent of staking a territorial claim in Antarctica on behalf of Germany. The primary goal was to identify a suitable site for establishing a German whaling fleet base. This clandestine expedition received approval from Hermann Göring as part of the German four-year plan aimed at fostering economic growth. The expedition had both public and undisclosed goals. Publicly, it aimed to extend the scientific research initiated by Erich von Drygalski and Wilhelm Filchner in the early 20th century near 90 degrees east and in the Weddell Sea, respectively. However, alongside these scientific pursuits, the expedition harbored covert military objectives. Upon its homeward voyage, it intended to assess the viability of the remote Brazilian isles of Ilha Trinidade and Ilhas Martin Vaz, situated approximately 1,000 kilometers east of Vitoria in Brazil, as potential landing sites for the German Navy, particularly for U-boats. This assessment aimed to evaluate the strategic advantages these islands could offer for naval operations, emphasizing the importance of geographical considerations in military planning. At first glance, Antarctica may appear to be little more than an inhospitable wasteland of ice and snow, a vast, desolate expanse devoid of life and civilization. Yet, upon closer inspection, the continent reveals itself to be a place of profound geological, ecological, and climatological significance, a crucible of scientific inquiry and discovery unlike any other on Earth. From the towering peaks of the Transantarctic Mountains to the otherworldly landscapes of the dry valleys, Antarctica is a land of contrasts and contradictions, where the forces of nature reign supreme and the boundaries of human understanding are continually tested. One of the most enduring mysteries of Antarctica lies in its geological history, a tale written in the rocks and ice that blanket the continent's surface. Over millions of years, Antarctica has undergone dramatic transformations, from a lush, temperate paradise to the frozen wilderness we see today. Yet, evidence of its ancient past lies hidden beneath the ice, waiting to be unearthed by intrepid scientists and explorers. Another mystery that has confounded researchers for decades is the presence of anomalous magnetic anomalies known as Antarctic anomalies. Perhaps the most tantalizing mystery of Antarctica lies in its potential to unlock secrets about the origins of life on Earth and the possibility of mysterious life elsewhere in the universe. The continent's extreme environment, characterized by sub-zero temperatures, high winds, and near-total darkness, bears a striking resemblance to the conditions found on other planets and moons in our solar system. As such, Antarctica serves as a natural laboratory for astrobiological research, offering insights into the limits of life's adaptability and the potential for habitability beyond Earth. The mysterious organism 46b. Organism 46b is said to inhabit Lake Vostok, which is situated at a depth of almost 700 feet beneath the glacial surface of the ice in its shallowest section, and around 2,600 feet at its deepest region. At this particular depth, the ice from the Antarctic glaciers experiences sufficient pressure to undergo melting and give rise to profound lakes. Organism 46b dwells within Lake Vostok, one of these deep lakes. An allegedly leaked paper pertaining to the initial endeavors conducted by Russian researchers on February 5, 2012, during their drilling expedition to the lake's surface, mentioned the existence of a species identified as Organism 46b. The report, titled Organism 46b, described a peculiar account by Russian scientists who allegedly came across a colossal squid of immense proportions residing in the lake. According to the report, this creature had the ability to release toxins into the water, compress its body into smaller dimensions, assume unusual shapes, alter its physical colors, and induce a mild form of hypnotism if observed for an extended period of time. Here are quotes from the supposed letter written by a man named Dr. Anton Padalka. We encountered Organism 46b on our first day. It disabled our radio, which we later learned, to our alarm, was intentional. It's also able to paralyze prey from a distance of up to 150 feet by releasing its venom into the water. Tragically, my colleague and lifelong friend was taken out this way. He was treading water wearing a blissful smile as the organism approached him. It was as if it had hypnotized him telepathically. It shaped itself into the form of a human diver. We thought it was one of my colleagues swimming towards us in scuba gear. By the time the closest scientist had realized what it was, it had grabbed him and torn him to bits. End quote. According to certain versions of the narrative, it is said that one of the creature's tentacles was amputated, but later regained animation and strangled another team member. According to the legend, only a small number of individuals from the expedition survived, and Russian officials apprehended the creature in an effort to conceal the incident. Although Organism 46b possesses extraordinary skills, its reported characteristics closely resemble those of real-world squid and octopus beings. Each capacity attributed to Organism 46b aligns well with the abilities observed in deep-sea cephalopods, which inhabit an environment characterized by comparable conditions of light, pressure, and water quality. This analysis of the possible capacity for telepathic abilities in the creature, as well as a scientific explanation of how this talent could be understood. Comprehending the telepathic capabilities of Organism 46b is a challenging and almost unattainable task, given that the mechanics behind telepathy remain mostly elusive in contemporary times. Nevertheless, it is possible to speculate about the factors that could potentially account for the telepathic skills of certain marine species based on assumptions and available evidence. It is crucial to acknowledge that there is much evidence and scientific research in the field of neuroscience which aims to decode the seemingly random electrical impulses of neurons into usable information that can be shown or comprehended. In 1999, a research investigation conducted by Dan Yang at the University of California, Berkeley, effectively replicated a cat's visual perception of the real world using raw data obtained from visual neurons. The utilization of poisons derived from organism 46B appears to be based on actual instances of cephalopods employing minute quantities of deadly toxins in contemporary times. The blue-ringed octopus is a small octopus, approximately the size of a golf ball, that possesses a potent venom capable of causing the passing of 26 adult males if injected. The blue-ringed octopus possesses various peculiar talents, including the capacity for jet propulsion. It achieves this by channeling water, enabling it to move significantly faster in the water than other marine species. Organism 46B may potentially exhibit these skills and have the capability to expel poison, similar to an ink sac, in order to immobilize larger species. This is assuming the veracity of the size of the creature. If the assertions regarding organism 46B are to be accepted as true, the creature possesses the subsequent capabilities that have enabled it to eliminate multiple persons within an exceptionally brief period. The black demon shark. Despite the widespread knowledge among scholars about the megalodon, a historic shark species larger than several present-day whale species, there are still claims of unrecorded sharks that surpass the great white shark in terms of size and strength. There is a widespread belief that it would have been highly unlikely for the shark species to survive, as some argue that it is impossible for any shark to grow to such an enormous size again. Nevertheless, this assertion appears to be at risk due to the emergence of tales regarding the sighting of a colossal black shark, commonly known as the black demon shark, in the vicinity of Mexico's Baja California peninsula. Several fishermen along the Mexican coast have reported sightings of a colossal black shark measuring approximately 60 feet in length. The shark bears a resemblance to a great white shark in terms of its body structure, but is distinguished by its dark pigmentation and exceptionally large tail. Considering the resemblance of these accounts to contemporary recreations involving megalodon skeletons, as well as their consistent tail size, some individuals have come to assume that this location could potentially serve as a hunting area for the beast. In addition, a significant number of the fishermen who have reported the sighting are experienced veterans in the field who have never previously made such claims and had extensive knowledge of various whale species in the area. A fisherman claimed an encounter with a shark while retrieving nets. He saw a collision with his boat, prompting him to investigate. Upon reaching the stern of his boat, he observed its length to be in excess of 30 feet. He then claimed to have spotted a dark-colored shark approximately 2 feet below the water's surface, speculating that this creature was responsible for the collision with his boat. According to the fisherman, the shark exceeded the length of his boat, measuring at least 35 feet. While observing it, he noted that it did not resemble any of the indigenous sharks in the vicinity. Despite having fished in this area for numerous years, this was his inaugural encounter with such a specimen. Curiously, he mentioned that most of the wildlife departed from the region at approximately the same time. Oceanic fauna may vacate a region in the presence of a shark as a result of an innate drive for self-preservation. Sharks are top-level predators that are renowned for their hunting and feeding habits on other aquatic organisms. Consequently, numerous marine creatures have developed the ability to detect the existence of a shark and react by swiftly moving away or concealing themselves in order to evade becoming a predator's meal. Furthermore, several fish species and other marine creatures possess the capability to perceive the electromagnetic fields generated by sharks through their muscles, enabling them to recognize the presence of a shark even in the absence of visual cues. This phenomenon is referred to as electroreception, and it may also play a role in the innate reaction of marine animals to the presence of a shark. Following the experience, the fisherman made an effort to meticulously record all the circumstances in the hope of unraveling the mystery of what he had encountered. Despite the passage of several weeks, the man failed to gain any further insight into the nature of the shark. However, he did observe that fellow fishermen in the vicinity also reported sightings of the same creature. They characterized it as a massive, dark-hued shark, measuring more than 40 feet in length. Another possible explanation is that the shark could be a hypermelanistic great white shark, which has experienced hyperpigmentation and turned melanistic. This particular species of shark had the potential to reach its complete adult size. Hypermelanism is a biological condition where there is an overproduction of melanin, causing animals to have a darker skin color. This is in contrast to albinism, which is the absence of melanin resulting in a light skin color. This phenomenon has been observed in certain species of cat sharks and rays. There is a potential for it to occur in great white sharks as well, particularly those that reach lengths over 20 feet. The presence of hypermelanism in great white sharks might have substantial consequences for their physical appearance and behavior in their natural habitat, as well as for our comprehension. Currently, fishermen in this region are still encountering this sizable shark and continue to believe that this shark, measuring over 30 feet in length, actively preys on marine life in this area. The Carnival Cruise Monster. An unidentified creature, known as the Carnival Cruise Monster, was observed in the Gulf of Mexico from the deck of a cruise liner. The investigation was initially conducted by novelist Max Hawthorne, who introduced the term Carnival Cruise Monster. Paul George, a worker aboard a Carnival Cruise Line's ship, saw an unidentifiable monster that he reported looked similar to an ancient mosasaur. Only the torso and the cranium of the organism were ever observed or depicted. The object had a glossy, ebony appearance, characterized by taut and substantial leather-like texture. According to his account, the creature did not respire through a blowhole like a whale. Rather, it would emerge to the surface and respire in a manner similar to that of a crocodile. The object was reported to have a minimum length of 50 feet, surpassing the size of the ship's lifeboats, which measure approximately 30 feet. Despite Paul's characterization of it as whale-sized, he clarified that it did not possess the slender and elongated shape often associated with whales. The creature has a robust and muscular neck, giving it a broad physique. The interview conducted by Max Hawthorne with Paul George, a resident of the United Kingdom, who observed a massive and unidentified marine creature from the upper deck of the Carnival Breeze in 2014, generated significant attention upon its initial release. The notion that something enormous and still unknown marine creature could potentially inhabit our waters and even serenely match the speed of a cruise ship in the heart of the Gulf of Mexico has captivated the minds of several individuals. Max made the decision to contact Paul George again, with the intention of narrowing down potential candidates for his observations. Accepting the anecdotal report as it is, Max endeavored to get a definitive conclusion regarding the identity of the Carnival Cruise Monster. Upon sharing with Paul various dorsal images of numerous large whale species, including the elusive beaked whale, Max reported that he reached the conclusion that he did not observe any type of cetacean. The absence of spouting, characteristic of whales, was observed. Instead, its exhalation originated from beneath the surface, a behavior commonly observed in marine turtles and crocodilians. Crocodiles engage in this behavior to achieve camouflage, which is highly advantageous for a marine predator that relies on stealth. Given the propulsion mechanism resembling a tail or caudal fin, it seems that the only plausible option left is a mosasaur or a marine crocodile. The color and texture of the object observed by Paul eliminates the possibility of it being a crocodile, and instead suggests that it is highly likely to be a mosasaur. The Lake Baikal humanoids. Lake Baikal, the oldest and deepest lake in the world, is located in Siberia and was used for regular training exercises by Russian Navy divers in the late 1980s. However, the findings they made during one of their dives were far from ordinary. Multiple divers reported witnessing mysterious humanoid beings, igniting significant curiosity and conjecture over their observations. Siberia, a Russian province, has been a lengthy location where UFO sightings and interactions with alien beings have been reported for numerous generations. One of the noteworthy places in Siberia where such occurrences have been witnessed is Lake Baikal. This extensive expanse of water is famous for its distinctive environment that supports a plethora of uncommon species. The swimmers in Lake Baikal once caused panic among Russian Navy divers because of their formidable strength, which unfortunately led to the passing of 3 divers as a result of decompression sickness. The Lake Baikal swimmers are a group of aquatic humanoid creatures that encountered Russian naval divers in 1982, evoking curiosity and fascination. This fascinating encounter took place during a typical military diving mission at a depth of 50 meters, which is comparable to 164 feet. The divers were suddenly captivated by the presence of a strange entity sharing the waters with them. The divers recorded observations of humanoid beings with extended bodies measuring up to 3 meters or 9 feet in length. In addition to their immense size, the divers discovered several indications suggesting that the entities they encountered were of extraterrestrial origin. These humanoid beings were distinct from anything observed on Earth, arousing curiosity and conjecture regarding their source and intention. The pictured creatures were distinguished by their silver contours, with select entities embellished with transparent orbs on their heads. These orbs have been compared to the visual representation of an unfurled umbrella positioned above the creatures' heads. This description provides a comprehensive portrayal of the figures, highlighting their unique characteristics that differentiate them from others. Upon resurfacing from the profound depths of Lake Baikal, the divers expeditiously communicated their astounding finding to a superior official. As a reply, the commander directed the divers to submerge again into the frigid waters and apprehend one of these mysterious marine creatures. A group of 7 courageous divers ventured into the lake once more, encountering the Lake Baikal swimmers. These swimmers demonstrated remarkable power by forcefully forcing the Soviet divers back to the surface. This extraordinary meeting not only demonstrated the divers' ability to recover quickly from difficulties, but also emphasized the incredible skills possessed by these elusive aquatic species inhabiting the depths of Lake Baikal. The insufficient presence of decompression chambers along the coastline led to a terrible scenario where all 7 divers could not be accommodated, resulting in 3 unfortunate divers succumbing to decompression sickness, also referred to as caisson disease or the bends. This sad episode represented a fatal shift in the attempts to communicate with the Lake Baikal swimmers. The insufficient allocation of resources to satisfy decompression requirements left the divers vulnerable to the lethal repercussions of their fall into the depths. Nikolai Kareev, a fisherman residing in the picturesque village of Kultuk, has recently regaled local historians with a captivating narrative, recalling a memorable fishing expedition from the 1990s. According to Kareev, while fishing at night with his friends, they witnessed a spectacular and puzzling sight. Supposedly, as they were fishing at night, they were amazed to see unusual events happening in the calm lake waters. Within the expansive Lake Baikal, the fishermen had a profound sense of trepidation when they encountered mysterious monsters that posed a threat of capsizing their boats, thereby submerging them into the frigid depths. The crew made a desperate attempt to catch one of these elusive silver creatures by using large nets in the cold waters. However, they quickly returned to the safety of the beach, feeling disturbed by the strange experience. Their frightening encounter had a profound impact on their minds, deterring them from ever returning to that specific region of Lake Baikal. Furthermore, apart from the evidence already provided, there is a folklore tale about a local farmer who shared a story with a traveler about legendary pharaohs living in the vicinity of the lake. According to the local legends, these pharaohs who lived in the lake were thought to have deliberately caused a boat to drown. This led the locals to respond by throwing nets into the water and managing to bring over 50 of these pharaohs onto the shore. This folklore not only enhances the local legends with an aura of mystery, but also exemplifies the deeply ingrained beliefs and habits that are widespread among the locals in that area. According to ancient tradition, pharaohs were supposed to have a humanoid form with heads, arms, hands and legs, but they also possessed paws and a fishtail. According to legend, the locals allegedly used birch rods to whip the pharaohs and then threw them back into the lake. This punitive action was not solely corporeal, it conveyed a potent symbolic significance. The pharaohs disappeared from the region, never to be witnessed again. The reports concerning the presence of humanoid beings have not been officially confirmed or refuted by the authorities. These reports have generated a substantial amount of curiosity and fascination within the paranormal world. Several theories have arisen to elucidate the origins of these humanoid beings. There is speculation that these occurrences could be the result of covert tests carried out by the government. However, alternative viewpoints suggest that these things might be of extraterrestrial origin, coming from outer space, or perhaps remains of a lost ancient civilization. The Corfu Island creature. A Scottish tourist in the Greek islands took an unusual picture of what looks to be an unidentified sea animal, and when the photograph was posted, it went viral. Harvey Robertson embarked on a boat excursion around the coast of Paga, navigating through sea caverns accompanied by his family. Initially, he attempted to capture the distinctive hue of the surrounding water using his iPhone camera. Robertson did not witness the species in real time, but while reviewing his video footage, he observed a grey creature that has a resemblance to a stretched-out manatee. In one photo, the peculiar creature emerges from the water, only to vanish behind the greenish water in the following image. The viral photo has generated conjecture among amateur zoologists and enthusiasts of mythical creatures over the identity of this peculiar animal, with suggestions ranging from a beaked whale to a hypothetical hybrid offspring of a hippopotamus and a crocodile. Although the image may share certain superficial characteristics with other animals, it does not resemble any known species. While the concepts are intriguing, marine researchers planning to embark on a lengthy research expedition in the picturesque Greek islands to study this creature may wish to postpone their travel arrangements, as the chimera has already been identified. According to Dr. Darren Naish, a zoologist at the National Oceanography Centre at the University of Southampton and host of the Tetrapod Zoology podcast, conducting a skin sample biopsy of the creature would likely show significant amounts of polyvinyl chloride. Essentially, his belief is that the creature is a detached plastic freeboard fender, which is a boat accessory used for protection against damage that subsequently drifted away into the ocean. This theory is widely accepted among amateur researchers. Cassie. In the picturesque waters of Casco Bay, Maine, a legendary sea serpent known as Cassie has captured the imagination of locals and visitors for generations. Described as an enormous serpentine creature, Cassie is said to inhabit the deep, mysterious waters of the bay, occasionally surfacing to astonish and bewilder those fortunate enough to witness it. Despite skepticism from the scientific community, numerous credible eyewitness accounts and consistent descriptions suggest that Cassie is real and genuine. Casco Bay, with its rugged coastline, numerous islands and deep, cold waters, is an ideal habitat for a large, elusive sea serpent. According to local legends and testimonies, Cassie is described as a massive serpentine creature measuring between 50 to 100 feet in length. Witnesses report that the creature has a long, sinuous body, a horse-like head, and dark, smooth skin. Cassie is often seen undulating through the water, creating large waves and wakes as it moves. One of the most compelling aspects of the Cassie legend is the consistency of eyewitness reports. Over the years, numerous fishermen, sailors, and recreational boaters have recounted encounters with the sea serpent. These accounts often describe similar features and behaviors, lending credibility to the testimonies. For instance, in 1779, a group of American soldiers stationed on Peaks Island reported seeing a massive sea creature swimming in the bay. Their detailed descriptions matched those of later sightings, suggesting a long-standing presence of the creature in Casco Bay. Another notable encounter occurred in 1958 when a group of fishermen reported seeing Cassie near the shore of Harpswell. According to their account, the sea serpent surfaced close to their boat, giving them a clear view of its enormous serpentine body and distinctive head. The fishermen, experienced and familiar with the local marine life, were adamant that what they saw was not a whale, shark, or any known marine animal. Their sighting was corroborated by other boaters in the area, who also reported seeing a large, mysterious creature in the water. Further supporting evidence comes from the numerous photographs and videos taken by eyewitnesses over the years. While many of these images are inconclusive due to the challenges of capturing clear footage of a moving object in the water, some have provided intriguing glimpses of a large serpentine creature. These visual records, combined with the consistent descriptions from eyewitnesses, suggest that Cassie may be more than just a legend. The scientific community has long been skeptical of sea serpent sightings, often attributing them to misidentifications of known marine animals, floating debris, or optical illusions. However, the sheer number of credible sightings and the consistency of the descriptions make it difficult to dismiss the possibility of an unknown marine creature inhabiting Casco Bay. Marine biologists and those interested in the unknown have proposed several theories to explain the existence of Cassie, ranging from a surviving population of prehistoric marine reptiles to a previously undiscovered species of large eel or fish. One plausible theory is that Cassie could be a type of marine reptile, similar to the extinct plesiosaurs that once roamed the oceans. These ancient creatures, with their long necks and streamlined bodies, bear a striking resemblance to the descriptions of Cassie. While plesiosaurs are believed to have gone extinct millions of years ago, it is not impossible that a small, relict population could have survived in the remote and deep waters of Casco Bay. Another theory suggests that Cassie could be an exceptionally large specimen of a known marine species, such as an oarfish or giant eel. Oarfish, which can grow up to 36 feet in length, have long, ribbon-like bodies and are known to inhabit deep ocean waters. Similarly, some species of eels can reach lengths of up to 12 feet. If such creatures grew to even larger sizes in the deep, nutrient-rich waters of Casco Bay, they could easily be mistaken for sea serpents. The implications of discovering a real living sea serpent like Cassie are profound. From a scientific perspective, it would revolutionize our understanding of marine biology and the diversity of life in the oceans. The discovery of a new, large marine species would prompt further exploration and study of Casco Bay and other remote marine environments, potentially leading to additional discoveries of unknown creatures. Culturally, validating the existence of Cassie would honor the knowledge and experiences of the local communities who have long reported its presence. It would highlight the importance of integrating traditional ecological knowledge with scientific research, fostering a more inclusive and respectful approach to studying and conserving biodiversity. Local communities, with their deep connection to the land and sea, are invaluable partners in the search for and protection of such elusive species. The mysterious Ningen. In the expansive and frigid waters of Antarctica, a diverse range of distinct organisms flourishes, not found in any other part of the world. Nevertheless, within this frigid domain, there have been reports of an exceptional entity that stands out due to its impressive height of almost 90 feet and its unsettling likeness to a human. The Ningen, a mysterious entity often associated with old tales and legends, has an aura of mystique as it seemingly emerges from the depths. The presence of the Ningen in the frigid waters of Antarctica remains perplexing and captivating, sparking conjecture and intrigue over its origins and importance in this freezing terrain. The Ningen is a massive aquatic creature, often described as a gargantuan humanoid with a pale white skin tone and fin-like projections resembling human limbs. The skin of this creature closely resembles the sleek and fatty texture of a beluga whale. Based on reports from eyewitnesses, this mysterious creature is seen to have two large eyes located below its head and a broad mouth fashioned like a slit, with no other identifiable facial characteristics revealed thus far. Witnesses have observed and commented on the nocturnal behavior of the Ningen, indicating that it is primarily active during the nights. According to reports, the Ningen is most commonly seen at night, suggesting that it comes to the surface during the dark hours, either in search of food or to breathe while avoiding being noticed. During the 1990s, the Ningen, a mystery creature, began to attract attention after Japanese fishermen reported an unusual experience with one of these things. The incident took place while they were sailing over the frozen waters of the Pacific Ocean under a calm, starry sky. At first, the crew mistakenly identified the enormous white object as a submarine emerging perilously near their boat. Upon careful examination, they discovered that it was not a man-made steel structure, but rather an enormous biological organism. The fisherman, filled with wonder, stood at the ship's side and was captivated by the immense size and pallor of this alien creature. The observers were captivated as they witnessed the creature moving smoothly and silently over the surface of the ocean before vanishing into the frigid and obscure depths. The fishermen were left in a state of astonishment and curiosity by this remarkable occurrence, which permanently imprinted the image of the mysterious Ningen in their brains. Following the initial sighting report, multiple fishing vessels in the southern Pacific Ocean near the Arctic region started to exchange stories of witnessing these remarkable and immense creatures. The plethora of reputable sources consistently gave a striking depiction. The colossal being was distinguished by its exceptionally massive, pallid body, adorned with two big eyes situated above a substantial slit-like mouth. Furthermore, it had appendages that bore a resemblance to limbs, albeit in a rudimentary manner, resembling human arms and legs. Estimates of the dimensions of these creatures varied greatly, ranging from 20 to 90 feet in length, little smaller than the remarkable size of a blue whale. The appearance of these mysterious beings aroused curiosity and fascination among the observers, leading to additional research and investigation of these unexplainable occurrences. As the number of recorded sightings increased, concerns about the validity of the Ningen creature started to emerge, leading to conjecture that it might be a hoax. Soon after, digitally altered photographs started spreading online, overwhelming forums and chat rooms. While many people considered the existence of the Ningen to be purely imaginary, there were certain groups of persons who strongly believed that this mysterious creature, with a physical body, silently moved across the freezing Arctic waters. Despite the widespread doubt, these unwavering believers remained firmly convinced that the Ningen was not a figment of imagination, but an actual creature navigating the frigid depths. Since being first discovered over 30 years ago, the mysterious object known as the Ningen has generated extensive conjecture, with some proposing that it may be an instance of misidentification involving a recognized species. Certain researchers hypothesize that the phenomena witnessed by individuals could perhaps be attributed to the existence of a substantial, yet unidentified, subspecies of albino ray or skate that resides in the extremely cold waters. The alleged albino characteristic of this organism may confer an evolutionary benefit by enabling it to camouflage itself inside the frigid Arctic surroundings. Conversely, skeptics contend that individuals who claim to have seen the Ningen might be mistakenly identifying it as known whale species, such as belugas or bowhead whales. Nevertheless, similar to other cases involving mysterious creatures, the verification of the Ningen's existence continues to be difficult to get. The determination of its actuality depends on finding a physical specimen that definitively confirms its existence, or on thorough scientific examinations that consistently fail to provide any evidence supporting its presence. The remarkable feature of Ningen sightings is in the uniformity of witness descriptions across various testimonies. Several persons from various backgrounds and different geographic regions have reported coming across a creature that closely resembles the Ningen, which adds legitimacy to the phenomenon according to its supporters. The witnesses confirm the creature's impressive magnitude, its ethereal manifestation, and its seemingly conscious motions as it traverses the frigid depths of its aquatic realm. Various theories have been put up to elucidate the genesis and essence of the Ningen, spanning from credible to imaginative. Some propose that the monster might be a newly found species that has evolved to survive in the harsh circumstances of the Antarctic environment, while others theorize that it could be a mutated or genetically modified organism originating from secretive scientific research carried out in the area. Although there is doubt and disagreement over the existence of the Ningen, its tale continues to endure as evidence of humanity's continuing curiosity with the mysteries of the natural world. Expeditions to Antarctica persist in seeking evidence of this strange creature, motivated by a want to reveal the veracity behind the stories that have captivated the minds of numerous individuals. Without conclusive evidence, both believers and skeptics are forced to contemplate the mystery of the Ningen and its potential presence in the unexplored depths of the Antarctic Ocean. Regardless of whether the creature is an actual living organism, a cultural occurrence, or something much more peculiar, its myth persists as a reminder of the limitless marvels and mysteries that exist beneath the harsh and isolated regions of our world. The Hook Island Sea Monster. In the annals of maritime mysteries, few tales are as captivating and mysterious as that of the Hook Island Sea Monster. First sighted in 1964 in the pristine waters of Stonehaven Bay, Hook Island, Queensland, Australia, this extraordinary creature has captured the imaginations of both believers and skeptics alike. The narrative commences on December 12, 1964, when Robert Le Serec, a photographer from Brittany, captured photographs of a marine creature during his vacation with his family and his companion Henk de Jong at Hook Island, Queensland, Australia. The creature, found lying on the floor of Stonehaven Bay, resembled a colossal tadpole measuring 24 meters or 79 feet in length. The environment was dimly lit, with dark horizontal stripes spanning the length of the body. The most renowned photograph, which strikingly resembles an authentic representation of an actual creature, is prominently included in numerous works on mysterious creatures and the exploration of strange phenomena. It is worth mentioning that in addition to the ones mentioned, numerous other individuals were also captured, some from a nearby location and others from a very close distance. The creature is clearly visible with two pale specks that resemble eyes. Additionally, there is a light-colored area located close to the bottom of the tail. According to Le Serec, the creature's injury was caused by a ship's propeller, which is why it was found resting in a lagoon. Le Serec added that he and de Jong dove underwater to get a better look, but changed their minds when the creature raised its head off the underside and opened its lips. Finally, it departed by swimming away. Le Serec initially recounted his narrative in the March 1965 edition of Everyone magazine. By that point, the investigation had been undertaken by individuals who had a genuine interest in monsters, specifically Belgian researcher Bernard Heuvelmans and his associate Ivan T. Sanderson. Sanderson came to the conclusion that the images did not depict an animal, but rather could have been a roll of cloth with a few ties strung together, a deflated skyhook balloon covered in weeds, or a plastic bag used by the US Navy for experiments in towing petrol. Heuvelmans also had suspicions and conducted investigations. A conceivable hypothesis is that the Hook Island sea monster may belong to the category of big eels, such as the conger eel or moray eel. Both species are recognized for their presence in the waters surrounding Hook Island and have the ability to attain remarkable lengths. Nevertheless, the creature's unique cranial structure and bodily dimensions, as seen in the images, do not completely correspond to those of recognized eel species, therefore allowing for more conjecture. Finding a genuine, live sea monster such as the Hook Island sea monster has far-reaching consequences. From a scientific standpoint, it would completely transform our comprehension of marine biodiversity and the evolutionary chronicle of marine organisms. The identification of a novel, substantial marine species would stimulate subsequent investigation and analysis of the Earth's waters, potentially resulting in further revelations of unfamiliar organisms and ecosystems. From a cultural perspective, confirming the existence of the Hook Island sea monster would acknowledge and respect the knowledge and experiences of individuals who have documented such encounters over the course of history. It would emphasize the significance of combining traditional ecological knowledge with modern research, promoting a more comprehensive and respectful approach to understanding and preserving marine biodiversity. Local communities, because of their strong affiliation with the ocean, are crucial allies in the quest for and conservation of these elusive species. The Gloucester sea serpent. A fabled creature from American tradition, the Gloucester sea serpent is said to have been spotted off the coast of Gloucester, Massachusetts, and the Cape Ann region. The peak period of sightings commenced in August 1817 and extended until 1819. The Gloucester sea serpent is a colossal serpent-like creature with humps running along its back. It has been the focus of several sightings and accounts of encounters by fishermen and sailors. John Josselyn recorded the earliest reported sighting of a monster like this off Cape Ann in 1638. Intermittent observations persist throughout the 21st century. The first documented sighting of the Gloucester sea serpent occurred in 1817, following reports from the indigenous people of Cape Ann about a sea serpent. According to witnesses, a group of fishermen observed a creature resembling a serpent, measuring approximately 60 feet or 18 meters in length, with a turtle-like head, swimming in the waters near Gloucester's coastline. The sightings persisted intermittently throughout the 19th century, with numerous local fishermen asserting to have observed the creature while at sea. In August 1817, the Gloucester sea serpent was famously sighted by a crew of men on the schooner Caravan. They observed a sizable monster with a serpentine head and a hump-shaped body swimming alongside their ship. The crew discharged a cannon at the creature, however. It submerged under the ocean and remained unseen thereafter. Over time, there have been many additional sightings of the Gloucester sea serpent, with accounts of the creature differing significantly. It has been characterized by some as a serpentine monster of considerable length, while others have observed a creature with a hump on its back and a head resembling that of a horse or a dinosaur. Due to the large number of eyewitnesses, potentially numbering in the thousands, and the comprehensive study by the Linnean Society, this sea snake is considered one of the most extensively recorded creatures of its kind. The existence of the Gloucester sea serpent continues to be a topic of controversy and skepticism, despite the abundance of sightings and accounts of encounters. Speculation has arisen regarding the creature's identity, with some proposing that it could be a sizable eel species, while others have posited that it might be a fabrication or a case of mistaken identification of existing marine fauna. The most recent observation possibly occurred in approximately 1980, when the crew of a Gloucester fishing vessel reported a near brush with a sea snake that closely resembled the creature described. Initially, the fishermen made a commitment to remain silent about their experience, but the narrative eventually became known to others. When interrogated, the collective stated that they were seasoned anglers and have a comprehensive understanding of what they observed. The creature's appearance was unprecedented to them, and when it directed its gaze towards them, its serpent-like eyes emanated sheer malevolence. The men refrained from discussing it further. Champ, the Lake Champlain monster. The largest lake in the Adirondacks, Lake Champlain, offers the ideal environment for boating, fishing, water sports, and swimming with giant fish. Throughout the decades, tales and purported observations of a colossal aquatic creature have captivated the minds of residents, tourists, and even academics. The Abenaki and Iroquois, indigenous peoples who have resided and engaged in hunting activities in the vicinity of Lake Champlain for an extended period, had their own oral traditions concerning the existence of a substantial creature dwelling within the lake. This creature is described as resembling a sizable serpent or colossal snake adorned with horns. The beast is referred to as Jitaskog in the Abenaki language. In the early 18th century, the Abenakis cautioned French explorers from disturbing the lake's waters in order to avoid unsettling the serpent. Samuel de Champlain, for whom the lake is called, is frequently mistakenly attributed as the first European to spot Champ. However, careful examination of his writings reveals that he really observed something in the vicinity of the St. Lawrence River. However, his description of the sighting is intriguing for those fascinated by water creatures. Additionally abundant in several species are the fish, according to Champlain's description. One of the names used by the locals for this particular species is Kausaru. It comes in different sizes, with the largest ones measuring between 8 and 10 feet in length, according to information provided by these tribes. The body of the fish closely resembles that of a pike, but it is covered in scales that are a robust, silvery grey tint. These scales are so resilient that they cannot be pierced by a dagger. According to historians who have studied the area, they have suggested that Champ is most likely a garfish. The subsequent renowned narrative is documented in the Plattsburgh Republican newspaper on Saturday, July 24, 1819. Last Thursday morning, Captain Crum, who was on a scow in Bulwaga Bay, witnessed a black creature that was around 187 feet long. The creature had a head that resembled a seahorse and rose more than 15 feet above the water. The individual asserted that the creature they encountered possessed a total of 3 fangs, eyes resembling the hue of a peeled onion, a white star marking on its forehead, and a distinctive red band encircling its neck. The level of detail provided about the object, as reported by the witness, is quite impressive considering that it was located approximately 200 yards distant. A train crew on Lake Champlain reportedly spotted the head of a massive serpent with brilliant silvery scales that gleamed in the sunlight. Both the men and the monster separated at that location. In July of that same year, Sheriff Nathan H. Mooney of Clinton County reported the sighting of a colossal snake or water serpent, estimated to be between 25 and 35 feet in length. In August, the steamer W.B. Eddy collided with Champ. According to the passengers on board, the ship came close to capsizing. There have been 180 sightings by 1992, with about 600 people reporting to have seen Champ all over the lake. Enthusiastic children frequently traverse the lake by ferry in search of the lake monster, eagerly anticipating a glimpse. Some individuals were able to capture photographs of what they asserted to be Champ. Similar to its legendary counterpart in Loch Ness, sightings and photographs of Champ are subject to extensive debate and analysis. A new wave of sightings emerged in the 21st century, numbering in the double tens every summer and attracting attention from television networks in Japan. In 2003, the Discovery Channel aired a program specifically focused on America's Loch Ness Monster, following the occurrence of 3 new sightings by June of that same year. Champ has been featured in Discover magazine and academic journals. Photographer Sandra Mansi, an amateur, published an image in 1977 that seemed to depict the neck and body of a plesiosaur protruding from the lagoon. The mysterious Bear Lake Monster. Nestled between the borders of Utah and Idaho, Bear Lake is a picturesque and tranquil body of water, renowned for its stunning turquoise waters and serene surroundings. However, beneath its placid surface lies a legend that has captivated locals and visitors for generations: the Bear Lake Monster. Described as a large, serpentine creature, the Bear Lake Monster is said to inhabit the depths of the lake, occasionally surfacing to astonish and bewilder those fortunate enough to witness it. Despite skepticism from the scientific community, numerous credible eyewitness accounts and consistent descriptions suggest that the Bear Lake Monster is real and genuine. The legend of the Bear Lake Monster dates back to the early 19th century, when Native American tribes in the region told stories of a large, mysterious creature inhabiting the lake. According to these accounts, the creature was serpent-like, with a long, sinuous body and a head resembling that of a horse or a dog. The Shoshone and other tribes believed the monster to be a guardian spirit of the lake, and they warned settlers to be cautious when venturing into its waters. The first widely publicized sighting of the Bear Lake Monster occurred in 1868, when Joseph C. Rich, a Mormon settler and journalist, reported a series of encounters with the creature in the Deseret News. Rich's articles described the monster as a serpent measuring between 30 to 50 feet in length, with a head similar to that of a crocodile and large, dark eyes. According to Rich, the monster was seen by multiple witnesses, including local fishermen and settlers, who all provided consistent descriptions of the creature. One of the most compelling aspects of the Bear Lake Monster legend is the consistency of eyewitness reports over the years. Numerous individuals have recounted encounters with the creature, describing similar features and behaviors. In the early 20th century, a group of fishermen reported seeing a large, dark shape moving beneath their boat, causing it to rock violently. They described the creature as having a long, serpentine body and a head that emerged briefly from the water before disappearing into the depths. Another notable encounter occurred in 1946, when a group of scouts camping near Bear Lake claimed to have seen the monster swimming near the shore. According to their account, the creature's body was partially visible above the water, and it moved with a powerful undulating motion. The scouts' detailed descriptions matched those of previous sightings, adding to the credibility of their report. Further supporting evidence comes from local folklore and cultural traditions. The legend of the Bear Lake Monster has been passed down through generations, becoming an integral part of the region's heritage. Such continuity in cultural depictions indicates that the creature is more than a mere myth. It is a deeply ingrained part of the community's collective consciousness. Local residents often refer to the monster affectionately as Isabella and recount stories of their ancestors' encounters with the mysterious creature. The HMS Daedalus Sea Serpent Encounter. On August 6, 1848, crew members of the British Royal Navy ship HMS Daedalus reported witnessing a gigantic sea serpent in the mid-Atlantic Ocean. This was the HMS Daedalus sea serpent sighting. The creature was described as being around 60 feet long, with a neck that rose about 6 feet out of the water and a head that resembled that of a snake or lizard. The description of the creature's body included its thickness, scale-covered appearance, and alternating light brown and black coloring. It was also reported to have raised and lowered humps on its back that resembled waves. The ship's captain, Peter McKee, was among the crew members who apparently saw the event, which lasted for about 20 minutes. The monster looked to be traveling eastward at a speed of about 15 miles per hour. The event generated a lot of discussion and conjecture regarding the existence of sea monsters and received extensive media coverage. While some doubters wrote off the sighting as a mistaken identification of a well-known animal, such a whale or a huge squid, others thought it was evidence of the existence of hitherto undiscovered species. Strangely enough, people who have lived most of their lives at sea have seen and described this creature. As a result, researchers studying the unknown have claimed that they would have no trouble identifying local marine life, which supports the theory that the crew saw a strange, unidentified creature. Many theories and analyses of the reports have been made in the years following the sighting. Some have proposed that the creature might have been a crew hoax, or that it was a mistaken identification of a known animal. Still, it's one of the most well-known and fascinating sea monster sighting tales in history. The Stronsay Beast. Even though Orkney is full of legends about sea serpents and mythological sea creatures, there have been surprisingly many historical sightings of these creatures that have become part of the island's folklore. The first, and arguably most well-known of several incidents involving the bodies of what looked to be long-necked sea animals, washed up on the coast there in 1808. On September 25, 1808, the Stronsay beast was first seen on the southeast coast of the island, reclining atop rocks at Rothisholm Head. A local man named John Peace was fishing off the coast when he noticed seabirds gathering around what appeared to be an animal's corpse on the rocks. Peace turned his small boat and approached the corpse, while George Sherrar, another man from Stronsay, watched. However, what he discovered was not like anything he had ever seen. The bones of a massive reptile with 3 pairs of legs and an eel-like neck were laying atop the rocks. A closer look could not be conducted at the time since the corpse was unreachable. But 10 days later, the decaying remains washed ashore just below the high tide line by one of Orkney's legendary gales. Now that Sherrar got a chance, he examined the corpse, measuring the size of the sea monster and scrutinizing it in great detail. The creature was described as serpentine, with a length of precisely 55 feet and a neck that was 10 feet 3 inches in length. With eyes larger than a seal's, the head resembled that of a sheep. To the touch, its skin felt rough and grey. However, it was described as being smooth as velvet when stroked from the head down the back. The creature had 6 limbs growing out of its body, and a long, wiry mane of bristles grew from its shoulders all the way down to its tail. It was said that their silver-coloured bristles gave off an unsettling glare at night. By the end of September, word had gotten out about Stronsay's monster. The 4 guys who had initially examined the cadaver were brought to Kirkwall because the remnants had decayed away to almost nothing. They were required to vouch for the accuracy of their information in front of the magistrate there. Soon after, the amazing discovery was reported to a natural history society in Edinburgh. Halcedrus pontopidani was the Latin name given to the creature during the society's November 1808 meeting. The moniker, Pontoppidan's water snake of the sea, was given in commemoration of a Norwegian bishop who gathered sea monster accounts in the 18th century. The naturalist Sir Everard Home read about the Stronsay beast shortly after that. He looked at what remained of the evidence, intrigued by the stories of a sea monster. But he was certain that the object was nothing more than the carcass of a decaying basking shark, which are frequently seen in the waters near Orkney. Home discovered that the vertebrae of the monster were exactly the same as those of a basking shark. However, how could the long-necked animal that washed ashore on a beach at Stronsay possibly be a basking shark's remains? The physiology of the basking shark, more specifically its post-mortem decay, holds the key to the solution. The shark's jaws, which are only held together by a thin strip of flesh, first fall off, leaving behind what appear to be the remnants of a little skull and a long neck. The lower half of the tail fin rots away to give a believable serpentine tail, while the upper part of the tail fin carries the spine. The surviving rays may resemble a mane of hair when the dorsal fin starts to break down. All 6 of the monster's legs are easily explained as the remnants of the shark's lower fins. However, the mystery is far from over. The story is still shrouded in mystery, even if the Stronsay beast was nothing more than a basking shark. The Stronsay beast's remnants are 15 feet larger than the longest basking shark ever measured, which was just 40 feet long. The shark that broke down to create the Stronsay beast must have been a giant in its own right, measuring 55 feet from tip to tail. The mysterious U-28 creature. People have been both captivated and mystified by the U-28 creature's narrative for decades. The story is veiled in mystery, with tales and sightings dating back to the early 1900s, but the truth about this mysterious monster is still unclear. The huge serpentine creature known as the U-28 creature, or U-28 sea monster, is rumoured to live in the ocean's depths. Although there are differing accounts of the creature, it is commonly described as having a long, skinny body covered in scales, enormous eyes that protrude, and a gaping maw that is full of razor-sharp fangs. The reports state that the animal was seen swimming in the Atlantic Ocean about 10 miles off the coast of Ireland. The U-28 crew claimed to have seen a large, enormous creature that resembled a sea snake or a prehistoric plesiosaur. It had a long neck and a small skull. It was estimated that the creature was around 60 feet long, with a head that was roughly 6 feet long. The crew of the U-28 saw that the monster was coated in barnacles and had a black, scaly skin when they got closer. According to reports, the creature swam swiftly through the water, moving away from the submarine and out of sight. The true identification of the U-28 creature is still unknown, despite the fact that numerous suggestions have been proposed to explain it, such as the chance that it is a misidentified whale or another well-known sea creature. Researchers have been fascinated by the experience and have speculated about it extensively. People who are curious about the unexplained and the unknown frequently discuss it. The creature's reports state that it was encountered on July 30, 1915, when German U-boat commander Freiherr George G. von Forstner wrote a detailed report after attacking the British steamer Iberian. He claimed that after the steamer sank, the object appeared to be a large aquatic animal that was described as being about 80 feet in length and resembling that of a large crocodile. According to researchers, accounts of the U-28 monster closely resemble the whale-eater monsters from interactions that date back hundreds of years. The whale-eater has been consistently sighted over the past 8 centuries all across the planet, with some major sightings occurring well into the present era. The estimated length of the monster is 43 feet. Its features include an extended head, a short neck, a body like a crocodile, 4 flippers for movement, and a short tail. Sailors have told amazing tales of enormous sea creatures that are rumored to hunt down and devour whales of all sizes since the 13th century. The whale-eater is thought to be a survivor of the Pliosaurus marine reptile species, which was thought to have become extinct 65 million years ago, according to research estimates. The whale-eater's crocodile-like look would fit the pliosaur description perfectly and account for the numerous sightings reported throughout history. In addition, a 65-foot whale was discovered beached on St. Austell's sandy shore on August 13, 2012. The whale unexpectedly died before any attempts were made to save it. The whale's face was covered in deep gashes that resembled a single gigantic bite mark, according to scientists who examined the animal. The teeth-like punctures on the whale's face curved uniformly into a U-shape. The encounter rattled the crew of the U-28, and word of the unexplained marine creature soon got around the German Navy. Some thought the creature was a fabled sea monster, while others surmised that it was a kind of marine reptile that had never been found before. Numerous sightings of the U-28 creature have been reported in waters all over the world since that tragic encounter. Claims of encounters with the monster have been made by sailors, fishermen, and ocean explorers. Their descriptions of its features and habits match those of the U-28 crew. The reliability of the witnesses and the consistency of the tales are used by proponents of the U-28 creature as proof of its existence. They contend that a big, secretive species may very well stay out of sight for humans because the waters are so wide and mostly uncharted. People all around the world are still enthralled by the mystery surrounding the U-28 creature, which has sparked a gazillion stories of exploration and adventure. The mythology of the creature serves as a reminder of the many secrets that exist beneath the ocean's surface, regardless of whether it is based on a true, unknown species of marine animal or is merely the creation of myth and folklore. We may never truly know the truth about the creature as long as the seas remain unexplored and wild. The USS Stein Monster. A strange and inexplicable phenomenon known as the USS Stein Monster appeared in the Pacific Ocean in 1976. The event has grown to be one of the most well-known instances of purported contacts with unexplained underwater objects, and it is still a topic of discussion and conjecture. In 1976, the USS Stein, a destroyer of the United States Navy, was operating normally in the Pacific Ocean. Reports state that while the ship was on patrol, the crew started to notice odd things. When an unexpected issue arose in 1978, the USS Stein, a frigate according to the US Navy, had to veer off course and head back to its home base. Abruptly, the radar system that was supposed to be monitoring submarine threats ceased working. The crew noted that the massive dome that was affixed to the front of the ship's hull was probably the source of the issue, and the ship proceeded to dry dock to investigate. This dome weighted more than 59,000 pounds, according to crew members. When the engineers examined the sonar dome, they saw something unexpected happen. Approximately 8% of the dome's surface was covered in huge tears due to the full tearing of the rubber coating. At the time, something of considerable strength caused such serious damage that some of the tears were up to 4 feet long, according to a Navy article. The massive wounds were so large that the covering needed to be examined by Navy biologist F.G. Wood in order to determine what had happened. Examining the dome, he saw that the wounds were quite deep and deduced that the marks matched those of a large squid. The problem with this theory is that the squid in question would have needed to be approximately 45 meters, or 150 feet, long in order for it to have made these cuts. The Navy paper went on to explain that experts had never before observed the creature's enormous size, but it did speculate that it might be a previously undiscovered species. The gigantic squid is now the largest species of squid. These enormous deep-sea animals are well known for their enormous size. Some have been reported to grow up to 43 feet, or 13 meters in length, and weigh up to 600 pounds. With its long, strong tentacles and keen beaks, the giant squid is known for being a vicious predator that can eat a wide range of food, including fish, crabs, and other squid. Giant squids are infamously elusive, with virtually little being known about their behavior or life cycle in the wild, despite their enormous size and power. In 1673, off the coast of Norway, people were first known to have spotted a giant squid. A group of seamen reported seeing an enormous, strange beast assaulting their ship. The creature was believed to be so big that it could wrap its arms around the ship. It was characterized as having long, tentacle-like arms and a gigantic, bulbous head. Many more sightings of enormous squids have been reported over the years, but very few have been verified or recorded. Giant squids have occasionally been discovered washed up on beaches, giving researchers important specimens to examine. In some instances, deep-sea researchers or fishermen have managed to catch gigantic squids, giving scientists a close-up look at the organisms. But even with these infrequent meetings, a lot of information regarding the biology and behavior of giant squids is still unknown. They are challenging to research due to their deep-sea habitat and elusiveness, and there are still many unanswered concerns regarding their life cycle, behavior, and place in the ocean environment. Researchers looking into the massive markings on the USS Stein's sonar dome hypothesized that the squid that caused them was probably one of the biggest ones that was out in the water. Some speculated that the offending squid might have possessed extraordinary deep-sea gigantism. The tendency of certain marine organisms to develop to bigger sizes in the deep sea than their equivalents in shallower seas is known as deep-sea gigantism. Numerous animals have shown this tendency, including gigantic squid, octopuses, and some kinds of fish and crustaceans. Although the precise causes of deep-sea gigantism are yet unknown, a number of elements may be involved. The idea of oxygen limitation is among the most often used justifications. Because there is less oxygen available in the deep sea than there is in shallower seas, certain species may not be able to grow as much or engage in as much metabolism. Larger individuals may benefit selectively from this, since they have a higher surface area to volume ratio and could be better at drawing oxygen out of the water. The profusion of food could also be a factor in deep-sea gigantism. Food in the deep sea can be erratic and limited. Therefore, animals who can eat a lot of it when it's available may have a selection advantage. This could help to explain how some deep-sea crustacean species, such giant amphipods and isopods, have developed to reach such enormous sizes. Deep-sea gigantism may be caused by genetic and/or evolutionary reasons, in addition to these ecological ones. According to some experts, the distinct environmental conditions found in the deep water may have facilitated the emergence of particular characteristics that support bigger body sizes. For instance, animals with larger eyes may be better able to identify prey and navigate their surroundings due to the severe pressure and darkness of the deep water. There is no denying that one of the most intriguing and strange features of marine biology is deep-sea gigantism, even though the precise causes of this phenomenon are still up for debate. There may be some similar ecological and evolutionary reasons at work, given the diversity of organisms that have evolved to reach such big sizes in the deep sea. Utilizing submersibles, remotely operated vehicles, and other instruments to probe the ocean's depths, scientists are now able to examine deep-sea animals at a closer range than they were previously able to, thanks to technological advancements in recent years. In addition to helping to solve some of the puzzles surrounding deep-sea gigantism, these initiatives have produced fresh insights on the biology and behavior of deep-sea creatures. We will probably discover even more about the amazing organisms that live in this mysterious and little understood environment as our knowledge of the deep sea expands. The mysteries of deep sea gigantism continue to enthrall and excite scientists and amateurs alike, regardless of the enormous squid, massive crabs, or other deep sea giants that we are studying. The mystery of the St. Augustine sea monster. About 12 miles south on Anastasia Island, two boys on the beach discovered a big pile of flesh that had washed up. This occurred in late November of 1896. Upon returning to St. Augustine on their bicycles, they informed local physician Dr. DeWitt Webb, who was not only the founder of the St. Augustine Historical Society and Institute of Science, but also a respected medical professional. Dr. Webb conducted a visit to the location on December 1st, which was one day after the remains were found. Allegedly, he was one of the few individuals with an academic background who witnessed the enormous gathering in the field. Dr. Webb concluded that the bones were of a colossal mollusk, measuring 18 feet in length and 7 feet in width. He observed 4 arm stumps and another arm buried in close proximity. Webb proceeded to photograph the remains and collected flesh samples to be forwarded to specialists who specialize in comparative zoology and the study of invertebrates. Dr. Webb wrote to Professor A.E. Verrill of Yale University, who was regarded as the leading authority on cephalopods, such as octopus, squid, and their cousins. In addition to the letter, Dr. Webb also included a sample of the corpse in order to obtain an explanation regarding the identity of the unexplained mass. At first, there were theories that the creature might be a previously unknown type of enormous octopus, which Professor Verrill tentatively named Octopus giganteus. There was speculation that it could potentially be a previously unidentified type of colossal squid. If the bulk were the remnants of a colossal cephalopod, it would have been the most immense one documented in scientific literature. Verrill proposed that the creature's dimensions in life would have measured 7 feet in diameter, and its weight may have reached up to 5 tons. By extrapolating from the dimensions of known species, he deduced that the creature's appendages could have been anywhere from 75 to 100 feet in length and up to 18 inches in diameter. After receiving and analyzing the sample of the mass that was cut by Dr. DeWitt Webb, Professor Verrill promptly withdrew his previous evaluation and became certain that the mass was the remnants of a deceased whale that had washed up on the coast. He hypothesized that it was probably the carcass of a whale, severely disfigured by scavenging and rotting. Despite Professor Verrill's ultimate determination that the mass of tissue belonged to a whale, the true identity of the St. Augustine monster has continued to be a subject of contention over the years. Until the 1970s, numerous scientists held the belief that the remains belonged to a colossal creature like a kraken. The dispute was finally intended to be resolved by the emergence of new technology in the 1990s. By employing electron microscopy and biochemical examination, a group of experts discovered that the meat does not exhibit the same characteristics as other cephalopods, including octopuses. After obtaining the sample, their conclusions finally aligned with those of Verrill, indicating that it was the remains of a whale that had deteriorated over a lengthy period of time. A DNA examination conducted in 2004 reconfirmed the identity of the remains as belonging to a whale. Despite the conclusive findings and abundant evidence in support of them, there are still some who maintain that the remnants belong to an undiscovered and unknown giant octopus. Indeed, our oceans are relatively less familiar to us compared to outer space, and octopuses are very intelligent beings. The Azores Underwater Pyramid. The Azores Underwater Pyramid discovery will be the first one we examine. Pyramids are found almost everywhere across the world, and although those above ground already have an uncanny resemblance and mystique, those below ground provoke even more contemplation. The finding was made directly off the coast of Terceira and São Miguel in the Azores. The man who is supposed to have found this building, Diocleciano Silva, was utilizing the ship's bathymetric equipment while out fishing. The finding was made directly off the coast of Terceira and São Miguel in the Azores. The man who is supposed to have found this building, Diocleciano Silva, was utilizing the ship's bathymetric equipment while out fishing. Looking above, he observed what looked like an exact geometric structure, leaving him wondering what he was hovering above. He saw that the building was precisely shaped like a pyramid. The fact that it creates a perfect pyramid makes it wonderful. Furthermore, Silva told the Portuguese news website Terra that the pyramid's orientation and deployment are such that its vertices are oriented north and south, precisely north and south, like the Giza pyramids in Egypt. It is very clear that the pyramid is not a natural structure. The pyramid itself has not received much attention, but its age is estimated to be between 12,000 and 20,000 years old, going back to the last ice age. It's interesting to note that the Portuguese Navy rejected the pyramid as a seamount based on historical sonar data from the region. To find out the real cause of this incident, no investigative team has visited the location. According to Admiral Fernando Pires, head of the maritime zone of Azores and one of the Navy's admirals, not enough is known about the pyramid to determine its true identity. He claims that the probes would have been useless at the time and posed a risk to navigation. According to Pires, the Navy is not ruling out the possibility that a volcanic explosion generated the entire complex, turning it into a typical underwater land formation. Nevertheless, no such study has been carried out, and additional investigations have been discontinued. There are no adjacent or even locally existing cultures that have a history of building pyramids. When archaeologists did manage to excavate the area, they discovered megalithic buildings, Carthaginian sanctuaries, cave art, and an inscription from the Roman era. Researchers would be well advised to accept the Navy's explanation that this is only an underwater volcanic structure, given the way the Navy has skirted the subject overall and due to political decisions. The mystery of the sunken city of Cuba. A group of explorers started a survey and exploration expedition along Cuba's western coast a little more than 10 years ago. While on their journey, they came across a bewildering collection of rock formations almost 650 meters below the surface of the ocean, thanks to their sophisticated sonar technology. These formations, with their symmetrical stone arrangement evoking an ordered metropolitan growth, were prominent among the otherwise desolate ocean floor. The media was immediately drawn to the find, leading to headlines such as "Lost City of the Caribbean Found" and "Atlantis Discovered in Cuba." The government, National Geography, and the National Museum all promised to look into these fascinating sonar photographs in great detail as a result of the finding's significance.